welcome in to the Brawl house.
The kick forward, the punch through, that's gonna be it!
No way, this one.
This is what everyone is here to compete for. So without further ado, let's brawl!
Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening, and welcome back to the Brawl Stars Championship. We are back in the SESA and ANZ region today. I am Mark, joined once again, by my more handsome brother from another mother. It's Trav. Trav, great to have you back, and are you excited for more SESA and ANZ action?
Oh, I'm more than excited from SESA. I feel like we've got a lot of storylines developing today that are really going to give us some really impressive games, and the teams are going to be giving it their all to make that important MSI.
Yeah, more on that to come later on. Today's exciting stuff for sure. Let's talk through the format for today. If you are new to these streams, perhaps it's something maybe unfamiliar to yourselves of how we go about today's process. Well, it's going to be a power match format, so very similar to what you have in game when it comes to your power league and all that kind of good stuff. Picks and bans, and we'll talk more about the bans later on today. The top 8 compete in a single elimination bracket. The quarterfinals will be a best of 3, the semifinals and the finals will be a best of 5. It's everything to play for. Today is a massively important day for free win agents, for example, who are our first match in the quarterfinals up against Southern Cross. They need to win that match if they are to secure themselves in a place for the MSI Mid-Season Invitational. Viro Esports up against Business Proposal for the second match. Salty Gang and Kisses Lifelines for match number 3 in the quarterfinals. And FA Upper Moon and Serenity Esports will be kicking off the 4th and final matchup. And FA Upper Moon have a chance still of securing themselves in for the Mid-Season Invitational, but they're going to have to win this monthly final and hope that free win agents go out in the quarterfinals. So definitely a tough one, but nonetheless, I think that's still achievable if free win agents have a few troubles. But in that best of 3 phase, that does open up the doors to some potential issues, right, Trav?
Oh, definitely so. And, it's always quite worrying when the power's not in your hands and it's not up to you whether you're going to be qualifying to something like that or not. Got a feel for FA Upper Moon today, especially if they've got to carry on competing after the first match, especially if free win agents do win that initial game.
We shall see. That match soon to come. Again, we can't let the players have all the fun, right? You guys can get involved at home over at events.brawlstars.com. Make sure that you log in over there with your Supercell ID. That's where you can earn some in-game rewards by getting some predictions, right? We'll get to that in just a minute and help you out. But there's some coins there, some tokens there. You're trying to work your way up to get towards that BSC exclusive pin. This month, it is Thorn. Love Thorn, my favorite tattoo artist in the Brawl scene. And also, if you haven't quite earned the previous pins for Shredder and Boxer Rosa, you can also do that as well along the way. We had some interesting thoughts when it came to our predictions earlier today, Trev. Talk us through kind of some of your ideas and how you think that the quarterfinals are going to go.
Well, I thought it was fairly easy on about 3 of the choices out of the 4. The one that me and you kind of did differ on was that Salty Gang versus Kessus Lifeline matchup, where I've chosen to go with Salty Gang and you went with Kessus Lifeline. I feel like maybe that is the only one that really does have that potential to sway a certain way, but in Brawl Stars, you never know, and especially with a few of these changes. Other than that, I did go for free win agents, Viro Esports, and FA Upper Moon. I thought they were maybe a bit more secure to go with as a prediction.
There you go, guys, at home for your waiting and hoping for some ideas there. That's a good place to start you off, and I agree as well. Like that third matchup could be an interesting one. But let's talk about the MSI. I mean, free win agents have had a phenomenal run so far. They've won the monthly finals of March. They've won it in April. They are the monthly finals champions for everyone that we've held. They just need to win their first matchup today to qualify for the Mid-Season Invitational. But if something goes wrong, the door is wide open for FA Upper Moon to have potentially their first win of this year. As it's fair to say that free win agents, Trav, are their biggest rivals, right?
Oh, definitely so. For the amount of wins that free win agents have got, FA Upper Moon have got the same amount in second places, so they're definitely going to be, even if they can't make it to that MSI, looking for an upset towards the later stage to this bracket today, but they're always going to be fighting no matter what, because we've always got World Finals later down the line, which they do, I believe, have a couple of spots for.
Well, again, free win agents, they're not out of the woods yet. This is actually probably going to be one of their most tense moments. I mean, Southern Cross are a team that are making their 2022 debut today, so had some great success last year with FA tryhards, but at the same time, I think Instinct's playing for the first time today for Free Win Agents, and that was a player which transitioned over actually from FA Up the Moon. So this is going to be his debut game playing for Free Win Agents, this new team now. How that kind of pressure is going to fare for him? Do you think that he's got it, got what it takes to keep his cool?
I mean, he's definitely got the experience under his belt to be able to perform in a scenario like this, but he's always going to have that level of worry being a player who has been quite firmly on the bench for the good portion of this year, of letting his team down, and that can really get in his mind. And especially at a point like this where they need to win that initial match to be able to get forward to the MSI, it is definitely going to be in the back of his mind and a little bit worrying to be losing that first match. And Southern Cross are a decent team. You can never count them out.
And just to stir the pot even more, we've had a lot of changes since the last update. We've now got the free ban phase now. So basically, every player has an opportunity to ban a brawler. You're not going to have necessarily a point in time where it could be between 3 and 6 brawlers that could be banned at any moment in time. It's basically a blind ban, so you could ban the same as your opposition, and that then becomes just the one ban. What do you think that players are going to be thinking going in with this new mechanic in mind? Are they going to have to be thinking through things a bit more carefully, or just does it actually open the doors to maybe have a more targeted approach?
Yeah, I feel like it definitely depends on the team as to what kind of approach they're going to be going for. I think definitely if you are a bit of an underdog team, you're going to be wanting to try and keep those more, more capable brawlers of the upsets, the stronger ones at the moment. But if you are a bit more of a solid team, you're going to be wanting to get those out of the way and play on your strength brawlers, which could bring in the fact that targeted bans are a massive thing now that there are a lot more opportunity to kind of throw a bit of a spanner in the mix.
Yeah, the 3-ban rule honestly has blown things wide open in every sense of the word, because we've never really had a big format change mid-season before in the BSC. It's like a real first. So it's going to come down to the teams and players that are able to really adjust and adapt towards that change and cater it for themselves in the best way that they possibly can. We've also had a lot of balance changes to consider as well. Some new gadgets coming into the mix. Not necessarily too sure we'll see that many of the new gadgets necessarily. Nothing strikes me as being particularly overpowered, but definitely some huge meta shifts are going to be a factor here. I think there's a lot of great reworks as well. I think Surge is in a fantastic place following that rework. But getting those bans right is massively important. And for myself, personally, I'm not sure about the views at home, but ultimately, when I was playing through some Power League and having that free ban rule now in play with the potential opportunity to ban 6 brawlers, it's a very rushed process, I felt. You have to really have some good synergy with your teammates and make sure that you're prepared going in. Ultimately, if you're not, then you might find yourselves in a bit of a pickle and maybe just having some panic bans, so to speak, right? That can happen a lot, even in competitive.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a lot down to team communication of kind of you ban this, I'll ban this, but there's definitely going to be a few mix-ups there, and that can really affect how teams do perform if they do fail to get one of those brawlers that they're so scared of out of the way, or something that one of their opponents is extremely strong. We've seen it in EU with certain players being really good at Rico, and in North America with Ashe. There's a lot of targeted bans in those regions, and now with 6, it's going to be a lot more prominent. So if you don't get those out of the way and a few of these more stronger brawlers, then you're definitely going to be open to a few different possibilities of losses in these games here.
I feel like it does actually place a bit more emphasis on that first pick, because ultimately with now so many brawlers potentially eradicated, it kind of puts you in a position where getting the one that you really want to get your hands on first, it becomes quite important. And then again, having that final pick can also be a great advantage as well, to have that final say, to have that ability to counter something in a hard way as a time rather, when you have no real response. So definitely the order of the bans are going to be playing a key role in the picks as well. Brawlers like Eve and Fang were big cry outs from the community to get nerfed, which they have been. I think that Eve still is in a great place. Fang, though, I think maybe might drop off a little bit more so, but definitely some favorable buffs as well. Squeak, fantastic to play, that particular brawler, since the buff came into play. Some others as well. We had BB. I don't think we're going to see that much, to be honest, of her, but some nice tweaks to her. Bo as well, things in a much better place for me at the moment. Definitely, though, I think Lu could be a brawler which comes now in more into hot zone with some big nerfs to Spike, to Fang, to Byron, to Eve, and to Gale. How is that going to shake up this region, Trev? Because they were pretty much very much hot on the list in terms of what the pros want, in terms of what the community wanted, and I think that they haven't been completely killed off. Maybe life plant for Spike, yeah, sure. That's kind of effectively now no HP value there at all for that. I think much needed, so right.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it was. It's kind of strong for too much of an extended period of time, but, we are watching SESA. They like to pull out some weird stuff, and, I say that with, pumped out chest of, they do have some very, very odd picks. I think Lu being buffed is going to definitely push it even further in the meta, as I believe we've seen it a few times, but definitely, as you said, these stronger brawlers being nerfed a little bit is going to open up a few more things. We're going to see, as the draft does kick off, a Spike first pick for free win agents, followed by Byron and Fang. So clearly not getting rid of him just yet.
Yeah, that was going to drop off a little bit, but definitely Fang didn't feel greatly strong to me playing it in game. Definitely the super has that pop of potential, for sure, no doubt about it still, but it definitely didn't feel as much of a threat in terms of taking it down when it does land in close proximity. Byron, having a little tweak to that to have one less shot before you can earn your super, I think is a nice turn down for him, but I still think he's pretty strong. But I like this draft so far for free win agents, to be honest. I like the Sprout pick here, and Bell's Rock can be really quite decent. The bans of the Max and Spike as well. Max, I think, is a wise ban. Spike, I still think that Curveball's always going to be good no matter what, but ultimately that life plant gadget nerf is going to hit Spike pretty hard still. The Gale pick for free win agents and a chance for Southern Cross to go with Grom. Grom's actually very, very good here, I feel, Trav.
Yeah, it's definitely not been a brawler that's been, so much used in current metas, but I'm very much welcoming the sight of it. I do really like what free win agents have got to offer here, though, with a few of their picks definitely playing a bit more of a ranged approach, and this Sprout is going to be extremely strong against the Byron. You can see it over the right-hand side here. They have managed to push it back a bit, but Sergeant does fall low. Grom misses a few shots, and that is going to allow him to stay up a little bit long. The wall goes in, but he is taken down. Instinct's going to throw a turret up, and he gets the takedown, but a super from Grom, just as he goes down, does get a shot in Instinct, and now he's kind of pinned in a 2v1 situation up top here.
Yeah, Kubte's clearly getting a lot of pressure on that bottom side now. Faced with a 2v1. He's going to have to go for the mid here, surely, and go for the Fang, and that tick damage is going to help a lot, but no, it's actually going to go against him. I thought he had the upper hand there, Trav, but Southern Cross come out with the first round win here.
Yeah, maybe a little bit too aggressive from Sergeant, kicking things off in that round. Did take a heavy amount of fire from Grom. However, he did throw his super out as he did go down, so shouldn't have too much charge, but it does seem like they are feeding him quite substantially here through the mid. They have moved Coop over to that middle section, and now another swap coming in from Southern Cross as they do try to start pinch in. And now a couple of supers available, now 3, and the super goes down from Grom, does connect with 2 of them. Splash comes in from Swanky over this side, and he does get the connection onto Coop, brings him low, and not a good position for free win agents whatsoever.
Not at all. Not especially now with Instinct faced with a 3 versus 1. And again, as we were saying coming into this matchup, how important is this for free win agents to pick themselves up quickly, because they need to lock themselves in for their MSI opportunity here. And that was not the way to start things off. That is game 1 going the way then of Southern Cross. Free win agents for me just didn't really seem to have their normal synergy so far. Plenty of time for a turnaround, but actually not as much time as we would get in a semifinals or finals matchup. It's the best of 3. So realistically here, they're going to have to make some changes pretty fast, as they do not want to be dropping a set here.
Yeah, we've seen them rotate a few times, and they're going to be doing it again. Need to try and take advantage of when Southern Cross do the same. And you can see they do here, starting to collapse in, pinching them in. A great shot coming through from Sergeant, and he takes down the Grom. Good initial takedown, and it has allowed the rest of his team to push up a bit more as well. Now they're the ones in a 3v1 situation, and it seems like they've repaired some of those issues from the previous one as they take the first round here.
That was a night and day difference. Can't deny that, but not out the woods still. They need to do exactly the same again, rinse and repeat. And as you rightly pointed out, the lane's very, very important with this particular matchup here. So, and not being overly aggressive too early on. Nice gadget pop from Finn, but duped nicely from Coop to Ace. The wall goes out from Sergeant on the right-hand side. Station going to tick down as well, but the positioning power is with Free Win Agents. Cooped Ace though, take some splash damage. You're going to have to rethink that and retreat just a little bit here.
Yeah, looks like the Malaise did slow down his healing as well, but now a massive pinch comes in. Coop does manage to dodge the super as well. Sergeant with a wall in hand throws it a bit further up and gets a few shots onto the Fang as well. Does fall low. Swanky not going to use his super, which is kind of pointless as this is going to be the round and the game to Free Win Agents and even things out. And that's a complete mirror opposite of what we saw in the first game there. And now it's going to be Free Win Agents who do even things out.
Yeah, I imagine definitely some firm words were had after that first game loss, but that was definitely the start that I was expecting to see from Free Win Agents. But again, this is still a position where they are not going to be feeling overly comfortable with. Definitely some momentum coming in, which is always a good thing. There's a little connection from Finn there on the gadget. No more gadgets, I don't think, or maybe, yeah, still couple there to hand, but it's a 3 versus 2 now. Good pressure from Instinct as well, running that damage gear as well, giving them a helping hand, and great damage there from Sergeant as well. Looking good so far. They've got to target these kills. Is not over just yet. That's now a 2 versus 1. They should be able to finish off the wow, I say that, and now Trishan can just work around this fence here, and Coop's in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, but we can't be forgetting that it is Gale versus Fang, and that is a definite heavy matchup in favor of Coop, and Trashant kind of just pushing around, trying not to take some gas damage along the way. Coop has picked up his super and might want to use it just to secure this round. He does just that. Gadget goes down as well, and now I don't see much chance of Trashant being able to clutch up here, but he does jump over a shot, and that got a bit too close for Coop's liking.
I was worried about the roundhouse stun, to be honest, and there's so much utility with Gale for the defense, but that was cutting it fine, even so. Okay, well, Free Win Agents definitely having a little bit of a shaky start today, but a win is a win. That round goes to them. 1 round away now then from taking this first set. I do like the positioning though here from Southern Cross, as Prashant on the left almost had a nice lineup, but forced to retreat now as Finn needs the heal, and a bit of a miss kick going in, but as was the stun from Coop, and that's the takedown there. It's a 3 versus 1 now. This is not looking good for Free Win Agents.
Well, this is the deciding round of the first set, so whoever takes this one's going to be in a great position moving forward, taking that first set and a lot of momentum with it as well. No supers available, so everybody's starting from square one. Now Trashant does get his, but can't really lunge into Coop here, as he has got a lot of countermeasures to it. Does pop that down. Now he is going to try and jump over it. He does just that, but he's taken down as well for a bit of over-aggression, punished for it. And now the rest of Free Agents closed down, super thrown down, and a wall coming in. Not sure if that's the best synergy between those players, and there's definitely not much of a chance of a comeback here, but if they do start to mess around like this, then it might start to be a bit of a turnaround.
Coop's just absolutely stuck in a rut there. You know, they're having fun, and I love to see that. But, I mean, there's still a lot at stake here. They have to get this win here. I can't see a way that it doesn't go their way here, to be completely honest. It's a 3 versus 1. But, I mean, Coop was low, Sergeant was low. I mean, you know, ultimately the memes have got to surface here, and they clearly felt like they deserved the first set. But, I mean, I don't know, Trav. I mean, it was very close despite the celebrations, I felt. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, in a position like that, why would you be messing around? Just finish off the set, get it in the bag, get that first one underway, and get the momentum for the next one, because there's definitely, I mean, regardless of a 3v1 situation, and as good as the players are, there's always a chance of a turnaround, especially if he starts getting some of those splashes down, some heals, some damage. Just finish off the set, guys, seriously. There's no need for any messing around, especially when you're so close to securing yourself that mid-season invitational spot.
That is the headline story here. You know, Free Win Agents now just 1 set away from being able to secure it. And, you know, if they are to be reverse swept here and the sets start to go the way then of Southern Cross, then that means a lot for what potential could hold for FA Upper Moon later on today. It is between those two teams, Free Win Agents and FA Upper Moon. But for FA Upper Moon to have a chance, they are banking and hoping that Free Win Agents will take a loss here. They have to take a loss for FA Upper Moon to have any chance of qualifying for the Mid-Season Invitational. So at the moment, Free Win Agents, have a great opportunity despite what was a very close first set moving into our second.
Yeah, there's always going to be some level of worry in their minds, though, as, you know, they did have some solid opposition there, and there's 100% a chance that they could have gone the other way, and that first set going in the hands of their opposition really wouldn't be too good for them, especially with, you know, some of the, as you mentioned, lack of synergy in there in some places, but it seems like they did get it ironed out a little bit towards the end of that Bells Rock set, and I feel like when they did go on the aggression, it did benefit them a lot more than their opposing team.
Yeah, they seem to be a bit overly aggressive at the beginning, but then started to rein that back in just a bit. And I think the draft was great. I think that, you know, having Gale as a response to the fan was always a fantastic thing to have. I think Sprout there works really, really well. There wasn't a sign of a wall breaker as well, the side of Southern Cross. So all those things combined are going to work out really favorably for them. You know, Byron received a nerf. I think Fang, you know, also received a nerf. A lot of the comp that Southern Cross went with kind of had received nerfs for the most part. Yes, the Gales have received a nerf recently as well, but I don't really feel like the Gale nerf is nearly as strong as some of the others here. But swiftly moving on to Bounty, Dry Season will be the map then. And one of my personal faves actually here, definitely one that I always say does cater towards being in front and kind of push back in your spawn, unlike a lot of other scenarios here. Going into this next draft, bans, you know, again, with the free ban rule coming into play, every player will be able to have their say in terms of what rule they want to receive ban for, and we could have as many as 6 bans here now. So big changes all round, big format changes mid-season. I don't think it's going to be quite 3 squeaks, unless Fruit Agents, and I wouldn't put it past them, are just going in with the same Brawler ban. But again, that's kind of giving themselves a disadvantage early on. There will actually be 4 Brawler bans if that is the case. The Squeak, the Eve, the Tick, and the Surge, as Southern Cross being more traditional in their approach, I think it's fair to say, Trav.
Honestly, I'm really hoping this is, you know, some kind of error. Because, like, I just don't understand. Come on, guys, just seriously. 3 squeak bans, as strong as it is at the moment, and after the recent bust, I'm not sure it's really 3 bans strong. But looking at the draft regardless, we did see a first pick of Sprout, which is something that I maybe thought would be banned out on this map, especially with 6 bans being a possibility. I thought throwers would be the initial thing of getting out of the way, but G-Max being picked up by free win agents, and it's definitely been coming into the meta a lot more recently, that G-Max returning from its golden days and coming back. We do have Rough Spell on the other side, and a Mortis has been picked up by free win agents. I'm loving this comp, and I do think it has got some good synergy, but as we saw in the previous set, maybe free win agent don't at the moment.
Wow. You can't actually have 3 Brawler bans, so it must be something on our side then. But at the same time, the way that Free Win Agents finalized their game in Knockout, I wouldn't put these things past them. Maybe they found a way, Trev, who knows? What I do know is that I do like this Mortis pick. It's going to be a bit of a struggle to get the pop-off that Sergeant requires for it. It's going to require a lot of synergy from Instinct and Coop to get the right moment here. And there's a Sprout Wall to hand, and that's going to be the shutdown they wanted. Lead is with Southern Cross, but with the comp that Free Win Agents are running, that could turn around quite swiftly.
Yeah, mistakes all day long there. Coop going aggressive without his team, dashing into a wall, and Instinct getting shot multiple times on his way up. Really didn't help the push too much there, and they have taken a massive loss in terms of stars early on, with 3 takedowns going the way of Southern Cross, and only Blue Star in favor. Not Blue Star anymore, but 1 star for the side of Free Win Agents. Coop falling low once again. Instinct does have his speed and pull available as well, but they need to try and help their teammate Sergeant out here, as he did go aggressive a little bit early on, but Trash and a pull on him will definitely start swinging things back in the way of Free Win Agents and have closed that scoreline quite substantially.
It needs to be done, and Coop, despite not having the support that he needed for the pull, did time it well in terms of the HP that Trishant had at the time. Instinct, though, looking to get his super, wants to get the Let's Go flowing. Sergeant picks up the all, but then goes down. That was a moment there where Free Win Agents had the lead, but couldn't escape from the spawn, and now Southern Cross really using a lot of their utility in the backside of the spawn. Wall going down, but not actually a great wall at that. It does open things up for Coop to be able to sneak through, and Sergeant. A pull from Coop is good, but will it be enough? There's a lot of stars still needed, and I don't think the time is there. Southern Cross will take a game. But as we've seen already before, that didn't seem to deter Free Win Agents in that first set of knockout. Will it be a situation here where actually we could go to the 3rd and final set?
I mean, it's definitely looking like a possibility. Some more mistakes coming out from free win agents there, and the timed assaults just really were not on point. But that pull at the end was just absolutely incredible. I've never really seen one go through the sandbags like that and make a connection. But with their comp, I feel like maybe they do need to try and keep up this aggression regardless of that lead that they have managed to get. Otherwise, they can be pinned in spawn, and with a Sprout and a Bell bouncing shots, it's going to be pretty devastating.
Well, the Blue Star is with free win agents, hence the multi-pick, doing its thing at the beginning, and that is going to mean that Southern Cross have to go on the offensive, really. We haven't really seen that in that previous game, pretty much staying in the back spawn the entirety of it. Speed from Instinct, didn't quite, oh, it did connect, I think, with Sergeant, maybe, unless it could actually just be the bush gear coming into play, to be fair. But going on the hunt, trying to push this back, and I think kind of a wise thing to do, and they would prefer to have a bit more of a lead here, and with plenty of time on the clock. Makes sense to try to push them back a little bit here, and it's always a bit of a struggle sometimes with comp that Southern Cross are running when it comes to being in that spawn area. So connection's not found, however, and Coop Days is going to pull the sound back. That's not going to help things up. In fact, it's going to open up the left-hand side for Southern Cross to make a push through.
Yep, Sergeant thinking about going in, but then deciding against it. Instinct does dash away and almost gets connected by the two Sprout shots that followed up. Goes very low, but now a few heals coming in from Coop. He's going to heal him up nicely, but he does get marked and shot again. Bounces going through and almost gets taken down. Speed available, but they are being pinned in heavily. Coop's one shot, and there you go. Instinct does fall. Sergeant trying to go in and take his down, but he can't quite get his either. 4-1 now, but the takedown's there from Instinct, and Coop just needs to stay up. 15 seconds on the clock. Swanky being shot at as well, and Sergeant trying to aggress Trashant, and a massive turnaround in the late seconds of this game. Coop can go down. The rest of his team just have to stay up, and it looks like they will. Few little push from Instinct there to try and keep him off, but that was more risky than it was a saving grace. And they do manage to bring this one back.
Match point then for free win agents, but I gotta say, I have many questions. They do not look like we've seen them perform in March, like we've seen them performing in April. They look shaky today. It's unlike them to have these close calls, and at such a pinnacle time for them as well. If they win this game, they do qualify for the MSI. That is huge for them, but that start is not, well, maybe Sergeant can pick up some scraps. He is able to bring back the lead, but is stuck in the spawn and really between a rock and a hard place, but somehow escapes it.
Honestly, I just don't even know what I'm watching anymore. When I come to SESA, I'm always just out here seeing some really random plays that seem to work, but this lead does swing back in favor of Southern Cross now. Speed available, but the Bell mine is there. Coop's going to walk directly over it, and that's going to negate the speed that he has just been provided. Sergeant does fall low, has the blue star in hand as well, but regardless, they are down. They need to aggress at some point, but a minute on the clock, they've got time, and they've got the patience to be able to bring this back.
Sergeant kind of low here. Evades well at the same time. Instinct blocked off by the Sprout wall. Coop sees a couple of shots, but nothing that's not going to allow that pull to connect. Nicely done. Picks up the kill for it as well. 8-6. Two-star lead. Blue Star is with free win agents, but that's why they need to keep it that way as well. It's 8-8 now. That Blue Star will be decided if nothing changes, but the way this is going, Trav, I feel like there's going to be some takedowns before this one's over.
It wouldn't surprise me if all of free win agents just ran at them and decided to all go down at this point, to be honest with you. But a Gene pull is available. Bell shot did connect, and a few bouncing shots. Mark does miss, and Coop able to evade the rest of it. Sergeant comes in and cleans up, but still, regardless of those two kills, Instinct goes down, and it's closed down to a 3-star lead, but now it is extended to a 6-star lead, and it looks like free win agents might have this one in the bag. Another speed available. Sergeant is the one going to be aggressing, and he does have 6 stars over his head, but it looks like they're going to be safe. It looks like we've got our semi-finalists, and it looks like SESA have got their MSI attendee.
Well, congrats, it must be said, to free win agents. They will be in the Mid-Season Invitational as a result of their performance, but I gotta say again, it didn't look as clean, as smooth, as convincing as we kind of felt going in. I mean, the scoreline says that. I think visually the gameplay didn't quite relate in the same way. Is that fair to say?
I think so. I think maybe a slight hint of overconfidence at certain points in that game, and it did come back to bite them at certain points. As you can see, it might have been a 2-0 overall in sets, but both sets being a 2-1. And not only that, but Southern Cross did secure the first game of both of those sets. So there's always got to be a slight hint of worry in Free Win Agents' minds going through those games there, and maybe their slight overconfidence did mask that. But, you know, I know these players, and I know they will have had some worry in their minds at certain points.
Yeah, there's always nerves when there's something to play for, as there always is in the BSC. You know, but when it's something as important as a mid-season invitational against a lesser-known team that you've maybe not come across that often this year, you know, it's still kind of relatively early days this year, and with so many big changes format-wise and balance change-wise, there's a lot of unpredictability at play today, and that cannot be underestimated. But Free Win Agents will secure themselves in the semi-finals today, and again, they are the reigning monthly finals champions for March. For April, will it be May to add to that? We shall wait and see. Next up today, we've got Viro Esports against Business Proposal then. Viro have struggled a bit this season so far. They haven't yet got out of this quarterfinal stages. They've been trying, and I've been rooting for them this entire time, and I think today could be that time. However, Business Proposal, we can't rule out or underestimate either. They got some good experience behind themselves. Now, what was our predictions for this one, Trav? We both went for Viro here, so talk us through your thought process.
Well, I mean, Viro, they've got it coming, haven't they? They've qualified and they've failed twice in a row. I feel like this is just a month where they're really going to make their move against a team like Business Proposal, who I'm not too familiar with, and I'm sure it's a pretty similar story for them. They'd probably go into this feeling quite confident. I feel like they've definitely earned their confidence in this one, as they are definitely a more well-known team, a more experienced team, and I think that's going to be why they move on to the semi-finals.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense that, like, you know, this month belongs to Viro, but having said that, you know, we both went for Viro here. So if you're placing your predictions now on event.brawlstars.com, that's what we did. Don't hold it against us if it's not the case, though. Business Proposal, though, have had some success in the past. Some monthly final appearances last year with QWERTY as a team, but at the same time, it's a debut for them for 2022. So there's pressure with that. There's the unfamiliarity of what is a very, very different season. You know, draft was not in play last year. It is this year, and today we've got even more bans potentially on the cards as well. That could go for or against them, actually. I think that's a really important thing to say, is that some teams are already embracing the draft. Some teams are already thriving off the back of having those options of eradicating brawlers, especially at a time when I actually think the balance changes are in a great place. I've been having a lot of fun with that, and you know, I'm looking to see some appearances of other brawlers that we didn't quite yet see. I think Squeak is still such a great thing to have. So much slow potential now with that particular brawler. Surge as well, you know, putting people in a position of, like, you know, what do I do, as you were saying before going live, against Surge now, because ultimately having that ability to jump in a more aggressive manner is a great utility to have added to his kit. So really looking to see some great plays going forwards from those particular brawlers. Any brawlers for you that you know, have either dropped off or have kind of brought themselves back in, that both of these two teams could consider going in?
I mean, I agree with you. I think that's, you know, that Squeak pick is just really flying on the radar still. And I mean, it's the kind of brawlers that in the previous meta would have been banned, and they do have 6 bans now. So it would surprise me if they're not kind of out of the mix, especially this Surge and this Squeak that have really come into the meta and proven themselves to be really strong after these changes. And frankly, I agree. I think they're extremely strong, and certain teams are just going to want to get them out of the way. But as I said prior to the first game, there's going to be certain teams who are just going to leave it open and try play for a bit of that unfortunateness that some of the teams might face against them, and just forgetting that they're actually available and letting them slip, and the other team being able to pick them up might be quite a big thing for a team like Business Proposal, who are probably the underdogs in this game.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, for sure. No doubt about it. I mean, you know, I think, you know, some of the stronger brawlers have been brought down to a nice place, actually. I think Eve will come back. I think that we're seeing probably less bans potentially for her. I mean, the stats are a little bit skewed, of course, because during the qualifying stages, we didn't have the same 3 ban rule that we have today. So that has to be taken into account as well. But definitely for me, Eve was way up there in terms of the bans for pretty much every map throughout the qualifiers. I think she's still strong. I think she's still definitely viable here. Ultimately, for Double Swoosh, I do like Amber. Now, Amber's had a new gadget introduction as well. Haven't really had a chance to play much of it myself, but I'm still on the lookout for it. Would love to see its debut appear in the BSC for sure. Very similar kind of idea to what we see with the Rattled Hive for B, for Amber here, Dancing Flames. Some flames will appear around her and circulate. And you know, I think a very underlooked brawler. I think as well, the brawler bands that definitely are kind of catered for this region are brawlers like Crow, brawlers like Max and Spike and others. We're going to see the Rosa, Crow, which is one big one, a Surge band as well, and Surge, Squeak, and Eve. I actually really like all of these bands, and actually some of the big things that we were hoping to see Trav ruled out off the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's only Rosa that you can kind of question here, but with the introduction, as he said, of 6 bans, you've kind of got to throw something out there that you don't expect the opposing team to ban, but you want to get out your way yourself, so I'd imagine that's that kind of brawler. It's an initial pick of a Gene, which is probably without a doubt one of the best mids on this map, able to scout the bush so easily, and then there it is. Pick number 2, my favourite brawler, and a brawler that has definitely fallen off this map quite a lot, and it's going to be paired with a Pam, which is another brawler that I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I mean, having the decision of going on the aggressive a little bit with that Mama Squeeze star power does provide some area denial at the same time. Ems here, I think, is a fantastic one to have. We see a lot of Byron mid here. I prefer the Gene pick, actually, for Byron, that they've already locked in. But does leave some options potentially for Business Proposal to respond with. Let's see. I mean, I personally would love an Amber, and they are going to pick that. Fantastic. So let's see whether they actually are running the new gadget or not. Personally, I do prefer her previous gadget. That's just me. I like the ability to kind of like, you know, earn my super passively and that kind of thing. But that could be the case. We should see. For a response here, Trav, before it comes in, any thoughts on what they might pick?
I feel like maybe they do need a mid. It's going to be quite a difficult pick, but maybe something like a Byron would go quite a long way in this matchup, I feel, and it doesn't seem to be banned either, so I think it's, you know, possibly a good pick. They have chosen to go with the Sprout, which is a bit hit and miss on this map. You've got to, you know, you kind of want the grass to be able to be disclosed and have you shield up and stuff like that, but then also it's going to be really difficult to connect some shots. I'll say, going back to the Amber though, I feel like, as you said, maybe we won't see that new gadget. You do need that ability to passively charge your super, as you're going to want to break up the bush on this map and get an open lane and be able to scout out what you're seeing. And I feel like, yeah, as we see, instantly off the start, he's running down with a trail of oil behind him.
Yeah, it's my preferred way to go, and definitely going to be a hazardous thing. It's going to be able to eat through support from beyond. Now, I think a great time to go on the aggressive, actually, but the support is there from Roselle, and that will allow Aaron to stay in the mix with 180 HP. Good starting point then for Virus to get 3 gems in the pocket. Very aggressive hammer healing station goes down, but it does also leave itself be a little bit susceptible to fire, as Jay does find the Pam on the way through. A good start for Byro so far, I think it's fair to say.
Slight bit of over-aggression from the Pam though, and he did get taken down. Aaron going to come in and he's going to burn all those front bushes, with the exception of one, so he can still get that shield with the photosynthesis there. Definitely needs to try and keep that up and keep a lot of this damage negated by it. Rosale does have his pull and 5 gems, so in a good position to hit it onto Kayan here if he does want to aggress for these gems, and he's definitely going to have to at some point, so I'd imagine we'll probably see quite a lot of patience coming in from Viro here. Another Pam turret being thrown out, but not placed correctly, and it is going to be pinched down by Rosale and Jay over that left-hand side.
More gems in the mid, and I'm sure Roselle wouldn't mind a pull here, but there won't be much support for it if he does. They're going to be very wary of this Tara pull as well on the right-hand side, but Roselle goes in for the pull. That Tara, if it would have gone off then maybe, but I think the support was there still regardless. Either way though, some risky plays, but the gems picked up by Aaron, and that's going to be 15 gems in the pocket, unless, yeah, Tara Tibet will connect it, and that's now tied things up very nicely actually for Business Proposal.
Yeah, a little bit worrying there for the side of Business Proposal, as Aaron did sweep in and get those gems after a lovely play from Jay with his super on Ems, but Rosale still has that super in hand, and we don't see one from Tara now, so one team has that turnaround capability and the other doesn't, so they've got to be on their edge of the seats, just worrying about what's to come. Jay does aggress and he gets his super off in a great position. Another Pam turret place, but he is going to cycle it. Looks like he's using hype as well, so a few heals did come his way, but a great pull from Raziel comes in. Aaron sweeps up a few of those gems and makes it so they can't turn it around no matter what. Gonna need a takedown. They do have the capability of doing it, but a burn comes down, does miss, but the time is going to cut Business Proposal short. And after a close first game, it is going to be Viro who take it.
Well, I think they got a decent comp for this, to be honest. I think the draft is definitely within their favor here. But good control always needed. Close, though. You know, there was definitely some prospectful moments for Business Proposal. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they actually bring back a game here. If they have a little bit more of a different approach. They're trying to swap on a few lanes here, bring the Taurus to the left. So I think that's the wise call. It's definitely, that did make me question why they were going with that Amber match from the previous game, because ultimately, you know, having the ability to really double down with those support from beyonds, really close the gap on the M's. But speed gear in play as well with Jay will allow some ability to maneuver around this. But I do feel like if they can clear up this left-hand side lane, put some pressure onto Raziel, then things might start to shift more in their favor.
Yeah, just this burst damage through the support from beyonds being a real difficult thing for Hori to deal with here, and Jay's going to pop his super and he's going to get onto Kayn as well. Does get the heal from that Garden Mulcher, but another super's been cycled and Hype's there. Does get like a triple connection, and the heals come off the back of it as well. A full team wipe once again, and Viro on top of the world with another gem spawning. One more will kick this countdown off, and if they do win it, that's the first set along with it as well.
Some signs of sprays on the map as well, which again was not a thing in the previous matchup, and I'm looking forward to some salt being shaken on the map shortly. When that one comes in, everyone is going to be running it, I guarantee it. 7 gems in the pocket. No pull to hand though, so that will allow a little bit of maneuverability into the mid from then Khan as he's trying to take some splash. Great work from Jam left hand side. Tara super is there, but one little shot here and there we'll see his demise, and that's going to clear things up nicely. Can't really push the mid though, not in this position as Jay's still healing. So a bit of a chance if Business Proposal can push this mid, but playing it safe. The Gene hand is in play here as well, as is the Tara pool, so everyone now really on high alert.
Yeah, got to be a little bit worried. Got to be near a wall that you can kind of wrap yourself around when that Tara does come with super. And I don't believe they're going to be able to get this one from mid. A pull comes in and Raziel not going to save his teammate, but it will stop them from really having any chance of turning this game around. The gem's not going to spawn in time. They're going to need a reset here. Pull available. Raziel pulls him in, and it's going to be the Sprout as the prime target. He does just that. And that is going to be the first set going to Viro. And so far, so good in terms of our prediction.
So far, so good. And again, you know, a team that have not made it to the semi-finals despite qualifying for every monthly final this year. Viro this month looking to make it there first, and that's a great way to start. Fantastic way to start for them. I felt like they had a really good firm idea on the draft process, the bans and the pick rates that they went for. I think worked out well for them. Close matchup though, it must be said. Some definite promise for Business Proposal. Again, wouldn't be at all surprised to see this be a closer affair going to Ring of Fire up next. What are your thoughts with Ring of Fire? Do you think we're going to see any Lu now? Because Lu's had a nice favorable buff, a bit of a slight, not necessarily a rework, but a slight touch on the rework side of things. But I feel like this is a map that, well, at least when I played it yesterday in Power League, really does make a big difference now with the 3-ban rule coming into play. You know, potentially having up to as many as 6 brawlers being banned here. You know, I feel like it makes a huge difference. Ring of Fire is a map that a lot of teams actually struggle with. So do you think that's going to help or hinder here, Trav?
I mean, honestly, I'm not too sure. I think, you know, it's going to be difficult for any team to be able to get a solidified comp that, you know, really does work on Ring of Fire, as I feel like there's only a select few brawlers who you can really play here really, really well. And if, you know, a certain team gets a couple of them, then it should just be a GG and they're going to be moving on from there. But, you know, as you said with the Lu, I feel like if it is going to be played, it's going to be an SESA where we do see it, as they do favor those kind of brawlers who do love a bit of control and just able to zone out so much of that map. So if there is going to be a play of Lu, I believe it probably is going to be here throughout the entire day, or throughout the entire region, I guess, as well. But as you said, in terms of the 6 bans and the draft, it's going to be really difficult to actually get a very, very all-round solidified comp here.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I've got to ban Max here because it just seems to be a staple diet in SESA. Crow as well, I think you're going to ban. I think Squeak you got to ban because Residue is a gadget now. You can lock down the entirety of the left-hand side. That sticky substance stays on the map for a 20-second period. It really is so suppressive and actually quite difficult to spot as well. I think you got to ban that too. Maybe Bell could be a potential ban here for me as well, or Pam for the mid, or Tara even is a great thing to push up from the left-hand side lanes and really apply some pressure on Leon as well. There's actually a lot of brawlers here which are viable. Rico as well to really suppress that left-hand side lane yet again. So I think this is actually one of the maps where the 3-ban rule coming into play can really make a big difference here, as just there's so much diversity at stake here, and if both teams can kind of try to foresee where things are going to go, and they might be able to help themselves out in that same way. We had 37 bans for Eve in the qualifiers for this particular map. Definitely the highest of any ban rates of a brawler. Now, you know, Eve has had a little bit of a nerf, not the biggest of nerfs, I think, considering how much, you know, outcry there was for her to be brought down. So I think that would be another worthy ban to consider here as well, despite the stats being a little bit skewed now, as the qualifiers were not with the 3-ban rule in play. But still, I think it is a good approach if they want to consider it on this particular map.
Yeah, possibly so. And the bans do come in. We've got a Byron, we've got a Squeak, Eve, and then on the opposing side, Eve, Pam, and Surge. So pretty much, you know, what you did mention in terms of bans, with the addition of that Pam as well. Surge being a brawler that occasionally could be used prior to this, just with the TP from the right-hand side to the mid, but now it's going to be very strong here, so it is banned out of the way. We're going to see a Meg first pick, which it's been a bit of a while, but I accept it nonetheless. When Meg did first come out, it was an extremely capable brawler on this map, and then it's going to be opposed by that Bell from Viro Esports.
Yeah, good solid picks so far for me. Obviously, the Bell's great response. We'll have the ability to mark the Meg, but another brawler, Meg, got to say, that had a new gadget introduction. I wonder whether we'll still see the toolbox. I know you were saying, Trav, that the radius is quite small, and that kind of made you question whether it would be worthy over jolting bolts. At the same time, you know, I do like the ability to have jolting bolts myself here, simply to keep the Meg mecha, you know, in play for as long as possible on the zone. There is the loot that we anticipated as well, the roughs as well for Viro. I really like the way the business proposal are going and approaching this one. I think that if they can get this one right, certainly the comp so far for me it is a really dangerous thing for Viro to be looking at right now.
Yeah, I feel like this is actually kind of like the first time we've actually seen these bans properly shake up a draft, because it's been a while since we've seen both Meg and Lou on this map, and obviously with balance changes as well, that can bring people and brawlers definitely into the meta, but I think this is, along with the bans as well, Rico, which I know you do love, is going to be played here as well, yep. And on this map, I feel like it's a great pick, especially down those sides, and then Stu, with his mobility, is always going to be a viable pick anywhere anyway.
I am heavily favoring business proposal here, but it's not just the draft, it's how you play the draft that counts as well. So, you know, Stu is one of these brawlers similar to the Tara idea of just really being able to apply pressure and push potential on that left-hand side lane. So if that is played correctly by Rozelle, then that could also bring back a lot of this spur of action. They've got to be careful to not feed this comp, though. That is a big thing to say. Viro, they've got to be evading as much as they possibly can, because Meg and Lou are really going to thrive off the back of that. But Aaron clears up the right-hand side lane. Very nicely done. And that is going to allow Jay to start to take more control of this mid.
Yeah, we did see the toolbox being placed down on the right-hand side, and, you know, the radius is just so small. It did restrict his movement quite heavily there, trying to stay in it to get those ammo boost. But at the same time, he's just not able to move enough and did get picked off. And Viro, as you said, regardless of the comp, it doesn't matter how good the comp is, it's how you play it. And it looks like Viro are playing this one extremely well.
They're being very cautious. They've got almost 50%. And two nest eggs on the zone. There's one popped already. And you can just see how quickly that then gets rid of the Meg, and a nice mark onto the Rico. Everything working so far well in favor of Viro. This is so nicely done, and not the way that, yeah, I thought this was going to go looking at the comp. But Viro, again, have not made the semifinals. Possibly the reason why they're coming in with just all guns blazing, because they're so close now to it. And it'll be a great achievement for them to be able to do it. Look at that, only 8%. And that is, we're done. We're done here, Trav. Match point for Viro, no question about it.
Yeah, I don't think we can really doubt this comp going forward anymore, to be honest with you. Viro just playing that so well, and the match aggression from both lanes there, pushing in at the same time and getting such good control for near enough the entirety of the game. As you said, moving on to match point. So they are in a great position to get their first semi-final of the year, and after these performances, it is very well deserved, and I would like to see them go on, and I feel like there's not much doubt in anybody's mind that they will be at this point.
Wow. I still feel like there's potential here, but as Jay eradicates the Meg from the mid, it's going to allow more capture time, and that's a dangerous thing. As business proposal here will be making a swift exit. They need to propose something more if they're going to be able to stay in this competition. Good tap still from Jay, but yeah, that's a great mark onto the Lu and another pickup as well. Everyone now focused onto the Meg, and yeah, Viro at the moment for me surely are just sealing the deal right now and should be looking at a semi-finals prospect. I mean, it's going to be against 3-win agents. That's not going to be an easy matchup at all, but they will take it. 50% now and looking strong.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think there's... I will say now, I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind that they'll be taking this one. But then again, you can never count a team out. We do see them trying to push out now, but Brawl just saying no to that. Get off my zone. Get back to your spawn. And they do continue this dominance of that hot zone, carrying on. And there's no signs of them stopping now. Brawl still dashing, getting the gas of heals and not getting hit whatsoever. Great movement from him. Semi-finalists of Viro Esports moving on. And as you said, they've got a good opponent waiting.
Congrats to them again, you know, because you know, it can be a really daunting prospect on your mind when, you know, every month just doesn't seem to go your way. But this time round, Viro will land themselves in the semi-final up against then 3-win agents later on today. Very much looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. But Business Proposal has some great ideas. I mean, the first set was very much closer in gem grab for Devil Swoosh, absolutely so, and that could have gone either way. Great drafting. They had a fantastic draft in Ring of Fire, just didn't quite able to match the same might when it came to their ability to play it. That was simply it. But looking forward to seeing hopefully more from them in future months to come. But yes, Viro will secure that dub. So congrats to them. Up next then, we're going to be having Salty Gang and its Lifelines, Trav. This was actually one of the matches that we slightly differed on in our predictions. I went with Case's Lifelines. You went with Salty Gang. So for those at home that are placing your predictions, bear that one in mind. We're split on this one. What are your thoughts, Trav, going in? I mean, especially now that we've seen a little bit of the free ban rule playing itself out, a little bit of the balance changes showing itself as well. You know, is there anything here that could be had to give one of these two teams the edge?
I'm not sure, really. I do think it is very even in terms of how skilled these players are and their likelihood of winning. But, I mean, so far, the 6 bans doesn't really seem to be shaking too much off in terms of comps. I feel like that comp we just saw there from the opposing team, the red team, I forgot their name already, but Business Proposal, I feel like that was maybe the first comp that we actually wouldn't have seen beforehand, before these 6 bans did come in, so I don't feel like it's shaken up as much as I expected it to. And honestly, I'm really loving the diversity of comps we're seeing. I like seeing some new brawlers come in, and that's even furthered with the balance changes as well. So these teams haven't had much time to prepare for these 6 bans and also the balance changes, so it's going to be whoever's really adapted the fastest who wins this one, I feel.
Very true, yeah, I've got to mention that. Yeah, that's definitely true. You know, we had the update this week, so there's so little time to adapt, and that's a big talking point here for sure. And again, you know, we were split on our outcomes for this in terms of our predictions. You at home can place your predictions over at event.brawlstars.com. That is where you can place down the team that you think is going to take the win. You answer some esports trivia as well. I think there could even be some questions about us this time around, Trav, or in the near future as well. I know that I've already had the opportunity of having my studio being brought into the mix for the World Finals prospects. Vouch for you if you shouted that one out and got that one right in yours when you were doing it at home. But yes, go over there, log in with your Supercell ID, make sure that you sync your game, because in-game rewards can be found there. Pins obviously are the big talking point as well. This month's pin is Thorn. So if you get all the way to your final tier, then that will be the pin of choice. But last month's shredder pin is still available, box of Rosa as well. So if you haven't quite got those yet, you're not out of the running. You can go back and still work your way through those, and we'll work you through the predictions from our side as best we can along the way. So far, so good, Trav. 2 out of 2, not bad for us. And if you're on that journey with us and just copying us at home, well, again, we're split on this one. So you can't really go wrong, even though you can. But either way, the thoughts there. Just don't hold it against us if we get it wrong, because one of us is going to get it wrong.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's always going to be someone to blame, isn't there? No matter who gets it right, there's always going to be that person who's costed 50% of people's predictions wrong, and they're not going to be happy about it. But so far, we've done you some justice. We've got you 2 for 2. You can't complain. And I mean, if you carry on from here, even if you get this one wrong, you'll be able to amend your predictions a bit further down the line with the semi-finals, regardless of getting any of these quarterfinals wrong. So be sure to, check back in at the start of every game, and if you have got it wrong, you'll be able to amend them.
Yeah, the quarterfinals is always a tough one as well, because ultimately, it's brutal, very, very brutal for teams. They've got to make sure that they are really on point, and if they get in a position where they find themselves being fallen behind, then it can prove very, very costly. One thing I'll say though is that Salty Gang, have had some great results last year. A lot of monthly final appearances, in the same team name, Salty Gang, as Shubham, Wildwiz, and Michelle were kind of all playing together there. His Lifelines as well, the same name last year too. White, Undead, and Farhan Farhan and Undead were in 4 monthly finals, so they've definitely got a little bit of an edge, I would say, in terms of their experience here. White coming over from Recording Esports as well this year. They had some decent results in this region, but obviously leaving that roster and joining in the Kisses Lifelines roster. Our band's already in as well. Oh, this is interesting, Trap. We got, correct me if I'm wrong, 5 bands in play here. Mortis, Stu, Squeak, Eve, and Gale. That's, I think, possibly the most we've had all day.
Yeah, and I will say, since draft started, it's been a long, long time since I've seen a Mortis band. So, I mean, I'm not sure how needed it is, especially after Surge has been picked with, his jumping ability. Now it might be quite hard to take down, but there you go. That's one of the brawlers who is so strong at the moment that slipped through the 6 bands, and it's showing that it is a possibility to still get some of these absolutely amazing brawlers throughout this picking process. Sandy's going to be picked against that, trying to counter out a little bit. Sweet Dreams and Sandstorm can really do quite a lot of work against those kind of brawlers. Pairing it with a Max, which is always some good synergy between those 2 brawlers.
Yeah, Max is crept in this time round and often banned out in this region, it must be said as well. So I like the way that things are shaping up for Salty Gang. They've eradicated so far some speedy opposition as well, so adding their own dose of speed is possibly part of their game plan here. But I do love that we've got Surge coming into play on this side of Cases Lifelines, because I've really enjoyed the Surge rework. I've got to say, I know the draft's still underway, but just got to slide in the fact that I had some reservations on Surge for sure. Like, the TP was such a quality about him that I think many of the pro scene were just kind of a bit apprehensive to shake. But honestly, now I've had so much fun with this particular brawler. We've seen it ban a great deal already today, but now finally making an appearance on a map that I think it's catered towards as well. Byron is the pick, the final pick then for Cases Lifelines. Could be a B pick here, potentially here for Salty Gang. That's my preferred mid. There's no tanks on the side of Cases Lifelines, to be fair, but I do find that the ability to shut down a lot of these side lanes and mid lanes with the Honey Molasses goes a long way. But they're going to go with the Spike pick, one that again has had a bit of a, I would say, a substantial nerf to the Life Plant gadget. That was pretty much the reason why we saw so much of Spike being played in across all the regions of a very, of course, diverse brawler. But that gadget has opened up a little bit of a potential to consider maybe popping Pincushion. That really did like me in some hurt yesterday on my Power League, as yeah, that can genuinely shut down a lot of these close quarters. We're going to be seeing Curveball on the side of Michelle, but watch out. I mean, it could be running it simply because the Surge there. It would be a great deterrent to having Pincushion as a choice since that nerf. We'll see what comes out to play. Ultimately, though, I do like the drafts on both sides, so I would say it's a fairly even matchup as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, we do have the possibility of actually 2 new gadgets to be played on Surge, so whether or not he'll be sprouting a level 3 for 10 seconds instantly or getting a bit of a shield, we are yet to see yet, but we do have a Byron Splash nice and early on. I'd imagine it'll probably be Malaise, but they haven't really got enough control to be able to throw it that far forward just yet. And now we do see Salty Gang start to put some aggression on. Spike Super thrown down the right-hand side, and a bit of aggression from Shubham down this left as well, but really no major moves in terms of control so far, and especially after White connects a couple of shots on the mid.
There's the jump over there from White, and it is going to be live plant, fair enough. Oh, well, what a great takedown from White. That's going to open the doors wide for them to be able to get this ball through, and I don't think... Oh, I was surprised. They had the Sweet Dream stun to hand, and that was what sort of deterred the push there from Case's Lifeline. Just playing it slow and steady, though. I do like that approach as well. M super to hand, big splash, what we said, over the wall there, and a desperate attempt to shut down with some area denial from the Spike side of the shot on goal, though. Not going to be enough to save off the line, as White will secure the first goal of the day for them, and a chance to get themselves off the mark here. Great start for Cases.
And Malays really did some work there, not allowing them to heal up. Gadget being popped by Byron and connected as well, just ensuring Sean does stay low. A level 3 from White once again. No Gadget needed to get up to that level. Shubham trying to push, but a knockback does 500 damage, and a shot from iJust will finish him off as well. Just needs to keep control for a further 30 seconds. And with a level 4 surge now, it shouldn't be too difficult to do just that.
Backstacks for White, yeah, additional range, and such a dangerous thing to have, and almost a little bit of a missed mark for Salty Gang that sort of fed into that same idea. We're trying to get some of this healing wins on the way, but 15 seconds is not long at all for a response. And honestly, with the amount of utility still available for Cases, the ball pocketed, the speed is there, but I feel like, yeah, that's nicely deterred from far. And a nice idea there from Salty Gang towards the end, but just kind of against the clock, and a nice start for Cases.
Yeah, I've got a feeling maybe if he did pass it backwards there, like round the backside of that wall, maybe he'd have been able to get the pass off on the shot. But regardless, it was a great start from Kestis Lifeline there. It definitely seems like they're on top of things. I feel like they've got a stronger draft here, as well as just playing better in general as well. So good. So far, so good for them, should I say. But this is a new game, and starting from square one with the level 1 surge once again is going to be a difficult thing for him to do. But Sean getting tapped up, and Shubham also as well. He is going to fall, and now it makes it a 3v2. But some curveballs will be connecting and taking him low. Heals from Byron will keep him in the mix, but now further shots from Farhan do connect, and control is starting to be established.
Glimmers of hope, though. Some more signs of damage coming from Salty Gang so far, and it does seem that the Cases are handling it pretty well for the most part. Damage gears coming into play, as well as the speed gear. Pretty much is the go-to here for most occasions, and rightly so. Splash available to Byron now, as he considers the prospect of maybe throwing it onto Sean there, but playing it slow as they know that Sandy is still lurking on the left-hand side. Good taps from Sean, and trying to juggle his ideas between both Byron and White. This is good pressure now for Cases, a chance to push this ball forwards. We've got Sean locked in nicely, but that Sweet Dream stun still there to hand. They're taking care of it nicely, though, similar to what we saw in the last fashion. This push coming forwards, and now it's 3 versus 1. Surely this should end in the goal here.
Sweet Dreams is there though, but it is thrown over the right hand side, and the goal is forced in by Kessis. Minute on the clock, still some time for a comeback. Speed available is popped instantly, and they're trying to make some moves here. Sweet Dreams not going to make a connection just yet. Pushes a bit further up and does get it down, but Splash is there as well. Few heals onto iJust will put him in a nice amount of HP, and now he can push directly back up that map and establish control once more. Level 3 from White coming out the spawn is going to go a long way, especially against the Spike. Doesn't have really too much to tank his shots with now at this range, so got to be a little bit more careful, and that's not really what you want to be doing with 30 seconds on the clock. You need to make some risks.
Yeah, I did like the way that we saw more of an explosive response off the back of that goal, but again, Byron's still in a good place despite the nerf. You know, the splash for me is where he really still thrives, and shut down the idea so quickly. And this is no way. This is no way the Salty Gang can do anything about this. They are behind, and even so, it could be it could be another goal for Cases, just to really rub salt into the Salty Gang wound. That's gonna be it for the first set then. Very convincing side of things from Cases, as I felt like they just had just the upper hand in terms of their composure. I think drafts were pretty even for the most part. I did kind of favor a little bit towards Cases because, again, I'm kind of biased towards Surge right now, to be honest. But at the same time, you still got to play it right, as we saw in previous games today already. Like, it's not necessarily about having the best draft. You still got to play it with conviction. And there seemed to be a bit more composure on their side of things. So we are swiftly moving forwards into our second set. We've not gone to a third set at all today yet. I don't know, Trav. This was looking quite convincing already. I'm feeling quite good about my predictions right now, as I'm sure everyone is at home that followed me for this one.
Guys, I apologize in advance. Yeah, but I do think you've got it. I think you got it locked down a bit better than I have at this point. Maybe you just know the region a bit more. I'll use that as my excuse. But I think Parallel Plays is definitely a map where a few things can be shaken up. As good as Kess's Lifelines did look in that game, I think they did have the outdraft. So maybe a slight swing of a draft in the favor of Salty Gang can take us to our first third set of the day. But if it carries on like it did, then I can definitely see this one being closed out in 2, and it could even be a 2-0 in this set as well if they carry on that dominance from the last game. As you said, though, I think it's quite hard not to be biased for a Surge at this point.
I mean, I just love it. It's just so fun. It's brought a lot of that. I actually kind of wish we had a bit more frequency with balance changes. I know the schedule and why it's the way it is, but honestly, it's become the thing that I enjoy the most about an update actually now. Like, it brings a new lease of life into the game, and especially for the pros who are playing this game more than anyone else, like having that same kind of idea of like, frustration's going to rise. The balance changes have made me just enjoy this update so much, and especially now with brawlers being brought into a bit more of a balanced place, and I would say there's less brawlers that really stand out now as being overly strong. I think Viro's still in a good place. That was a problem which Salty Gang had in that last set. I wouldn't be at all surprised if they maybe lock it down a bit more this time round, as it did seem to be one that was played very well on the side of cases. Parallel Plays up next. Again, potential bans. We've got the 3-ban rule now in play. Between 3 and potentially even 6 brawlers are able to be banned here. I've got to go with Gale straight away, as the brawler's got so much defensive capabilities. Leon has got a lot of unpredictability to add to that equation as well. Sprout, I would lock down here, and maybe not necessarily the go-to pick in this region, but it can shut down so much value on this particular map for me. Pam is another idea that you could shut down here as well, but I think ultimately Crow, Max, are a big kind of big brawlers in this region which get played a lot. I think Squeak could actually be quite viable here as well, maybe to have some visibility as a result of that residue gadget to sort of just bring something on that left-hand side lane into more of a controlling base, to see the crossover period as to when someone could be kind of coming into a potential assault. But I've mentioned quite a lot there, Trav, I'm well aware already, but anything for you that you'd like to see or maybe not see here?
And so you've taken the words straight out of my mouth. The majority of ones that I would have said you've probably covered there, but I will say as well, I was going to say with the addition of probably like maybe a Stu could also go quite a long way on this map with its mobility and the speed zone. Definitely something that we do see quite often in other regions such as the EMEA. But yeah, as you mentioned, the Sprout, it is an acquired taste. It is, a bit hit and miss for certain teams, and it isn't going to be banned out in this game here. We got the Surge, Eve, and Squeak. And then Squeak, Eve, and Gale on the other side. So is that only 3 bans we're seeing here?
4 bans, yeah, 4 bans for this one. It does seem like this region still value the Eve ban a lot. We're seeing double Eve bans quite frequently today, as well as Squeak. So they have also cottoned onto the fact that Squeak is in a fantastic place right now. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense for me. I'm sad to not see Surge, but ultimately excited to see some familiar faces. I wouldn't be opposed to a Spike here, actually. It does seem like that particular brawler's not really kind of like, dropped off too much as a result of the nerf to the life bar. Stu, as you rightly said, actually coming to play here for Salty Gang as well. So, a good drop from them. I do prefer the Byron mid to the Bell, but still, some great ideas being shown by Salty already. Ruffs coming into the cases as well. I do like to see Ruffs can obviously break a lot of the zone to take away some of the defensive capabilities of it. Some great ideas. Just trying to think what I would still consider having here myself. Leon, I think I would go with personally for cases here, but that could also be a response for Salty. They're going to go with Leon, so that makes a lot of sense. See how Salty Gang responds. Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why I'm always right, Trav.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with these predictions as well. You're really dominating me today. But yeah, I do like the Ruffs pick. It's a good counter to the Stu as well. If they can get that matchup right, throw some sandbags down and tank a lot of these shots that will be coming in. So we do have a final pick for Salty Gang. Need something that does do extremely well against all of these brawls, which is going to be quite hard to find. I'd imagine they probably need something slightly defensive, but they chose to go for Mr. P. It's not going to be terrible, but I'm not really sure how well it'll excel, especially at these longer range battles. It's very, very hard to hit these bouncing and long range shots against really, really solid players.
Yeah, Mr. P, I'm kind of growing to, actually, a little bit. And a little shout out to Zintex in the chat. He predicted that right, actually, before it came up. So nicely done. Nicely done. Clearly taking some of my vibes on board because, you know, again, I've been spot on today. Yeah, I'm kind of growing to it. I actually am growing to it. I was a bit on the fence for a while, actually, when it came to Mr. P, after some buffs to him in recent time. And, but will it be enough? It's definitely going to struggle a little bit when it comes to, like you said, the defensiveness. Great at showing brawlers up before, you know, they are going on the assault, but at the same time, you know, this is where White is going to get so much value because he's able to clear up the mid lane and just get taken down eventually. Salty Gang are going to have to do that more, actually. So, you know, working together as a team, which they were not doing so much in the first set, now starting to maybe communicate a bit more effectively as they realize that time is against them, and so is the pressure.
He's actually not using sandbags. I think as we kind of loaded into the game, he was raining down some meteors over the right hand side, which is it's going to be good if you can get it against the Stu. Against the Bell, but against the Stu, you're definitely going to be wanting those sandbags. And as a defensive brawler, I would have probably favored that. He does get the takedown to Shubham though, and now they start to close in. Vishal, the only one really remaining, but he does burn down to the Byron damage. Break going to come in and a power up along with it. Just need to maintain this defensive side now. No sandbags up top though, so Stu might be able to get a nice aggressive play with some Gasser heal going on. White remaining on the zone with some heals from Farhan. Does get the splash onto him as well. Invisi heal popped and just endless healing raining down on this left-hand side.
Yeah, it's looking bleak. It's looking bleak for Salty as everyone now, like, just hunkered on this zone. Great start for them, to be fair. Like, you know, it was very close the majority of the game, but now there's just too many bodies around to take care of, and the Byron Hills are strong. That is going to be match point then for Cases, you know, and again, the team that I predicted to win, but I still feel like Salty have got something going on here to work with. It's not completely hopeless, especially when you looked at like how close it was for the majority of the game. But there is a lot of aggression at the disposal of Cases. The Leon pick with Byron Hills definitely causing a problem for Salty, and they've got to shut the idea down.
Yeah, White's starting to aggress now. Did use his lollipop drop to actually tank a shot, which isn't really something you see every day. You want to use those to your advantage of not being able to be seen, rather as tanking some shots. But White doing a great job no matter what. He's got his Invisi heal as well. Not going to be able to be seen by any of these, keeping his distance and range as well. Now he does choose to go in the aggressive. Gets the takedown, lollipop drop. Not going to tank this time. And it should be quite a simple takedown for Sean to get that out of the way there. But some good percentage was secured, and that's really going to come back to bite Salty Gang later on in the game.
Okay. Well, they have got some control over the mid right now. Sean gets a nice mark onto White, and that's the person that they ideally do need to mark, because ultimately the strategy of healing him and allowing him to go on the aggressive needs to be taken care of. Shao just trying to make this Mr. P pick work, but I just don't feel too convinced by it yet, as White goes in Viz and does get a nice assassination. He's a susceptible brawler to brawlers like Leon here, and that was the chance really to have a solid response for that assassination pick. Let's see though, they've still got the mid control despite, I feel, the aggression more in favor of Cases. And like as you rightly pointed out, the fact that, you know, Salty have not captured their own zone too much so far is going against them here. And Cases know they can just kind of sit back here. They haven't got to go on the aggressive. They've got their zone and they've got a little bit on their opposition zone, so they can just kind of play the mid here and try to control the situation.
Yeah, I'm sure that won't stop them, though. If they can get some takedowns like the one over the right-hand side, they might start to aggress no matter what. Splash going to come down as well. I believe that actually missed there. Didn't make a connection. Invisi heal available. And Shubham is going to burn down thanks to the Byron. White going to try and aggress, but to no avail as he does fall. Vishal falls low. And, I mean, iJust is not even going to try and push onto that zone. As you said, just maintain control of this map. We'll be able to secure them the win. But with a minute on the clock, Salty Gang are very, very much so still in it. As White starts to aggress now. And over and over again, they're just getting the pushes deflated like that.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle here, honestly. I think, yeah, it's found the Leon, which is good. Yeah, White was exposed there, so still some hope. They've got to really start to get a couple of takedowns, secure some kills. But yeah, Farm, they're just coming in with a nice splash over the top and shuts that idea to rest very, very quickly indeed. Sean really trying to find the roughs here, but goes down for his troubles, leaving again this familiar situation of a 3 versus 1 as Hayes is now really turning all the screws, and that should be enough to do it. Surely now then going towards the semi-finals, and yeah, Salty Gang left with nothing less than a salty taste in their mouths.
Yeah, another sweep has been completed, this time by Kessa's Lifeline, so moving on to the semi-finals for them. We do only have one more remaining, and I wonder if that'll end in a sweep as well, considering we've kind of had a bit of a trend going on. But overall, extremely well played from Kessa's Lifelines. And yes, I know before you mentioned it, my prediction was wrong. I'm sorry, guys, and there's just no need to boast.
I'm glad you said it, Trav. I'm glad you said it. I mean, it's not going to stop me boasting. I'll say that for starters. But yes, you are indeed correct, as I was correct. You know, there's a reason why people will listen to me more than listen to you. But you know, your time will come. You've had a great start this year. You're doing fantastic. I'm so proud of you. Got to say. You know, it's next 2023, Trav. It's going to be your year. I feel it. I know it. You got this. You got this.
Thanks for the faith in me. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure from here, all my predictions are going to be right, and I'm going to take you by storm. I'm just going to do all of the most random predictions, because I can't get any lower than this point of being doing worse than you if I keep on predicting the same as you now. So you're going to see some random predictions coming out of me, just hoping to get some right. So just don't listen to me, guys, because I'm going to be throwing out some seriously random predictions.
Well, the next one should be fun, because we went with the same. You can't go wrong. You're fine. If you are just joining the stream, guys, welcome in. This is what you may have missed so far, but what is yet to come still today. It's been very exciting. We haven't got to a third and final set, but at the same time, you know, there could be that still to come later on. Some semi-final matchups still to come. Looking forward to seeing how they will shape things up today. But we started things off today with Freewin Agents. They did secure themselves into the MSI Mid-Season Invitational. They had to get the win in their quarterfinal matchup to be able to do so, and they did. It wasn't necessarily the most convincing of performances that I've ever seen from them. They looked a little bit shaky, but nonetheless did come out on top. So we'll be seeing them later on this year. I think it's going to be in June for competing for $100,000. So looking to get their share of that. They are confirmed that they will be facing against Viro Esports in our semi-finals today, who have finally made it to a semi-finals despite 2 months of trying. Couldn't quite escape the quarterfinals for the longest time, so they will be facing off now finally in their first semi-final appearances of this year. But it is against the reigning champions of March and April, so there's that. Later on today, if I just remind myself from my notes that we had as well. We had Salty Gang just now up against Case's Lifelines. Cases took the win there, didn't they, Trav? Despite your siding with Salty Gang, and we know how that went. Anyway, FA of Moon up next. That was a team which were actually in the running for an MSI appearance, however, but they were banking on the idea that Freewin Agents would not win their game in the quarterfinals, which they did. So they're now at the running, but they are still very much in the running for this monthly final, as they have had a grand final appearance in March, in April, but just not quite able to seal the deal yet against their biggest rival, Freewin Agents. So Serenity Esports, I've got to mention as well, had a great run last month. They made it to the semifinals, where I think that it was fair to say a big upset. I think they knocked out from memory Viro Esports in the quarterfinals, and had a really good run. So I feel like this could actually be arguably the closest matchup to date, Trav. That's my kind of opinion. We went with FA Upper Moon. I think it would be foolish not to, considering that they've been in the grand final 2 months in a row. But at the same time, Serenity, they are dangerous. We can't underestimate them.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just went with FA Upper Moon. They're a consistent team. You know, portions of that roster have been in massive competitions, world finals, and stuff like that. So you've got to be a little bit worried coming up against them. But then again, as you said, Serenity making some very, very good moves in previous months, getting to some semi-finals. But I feel like they're just maybe too inexperienced to be able to rival the players on FA Upper Moon, who have just been providing great play after great play, and not only making it to the grand finals twice, but putting up a very, very good fight against our reigning champions.
Well, again, you know, the quarterfinal stages, they're no easy feat. You've got to stay composed, and it is arguably the moment in time where you stand the biggest chance of a swift exit. But pretty sure that's CZK on the top there, having some breakfast. I mean, you know, I didn't get any myself, so I'm feeling very jealous about that. But maybe it's actually probably dinner, as it's probably the evening in the time zone there. But nutrition, very important. Get the energy levels high. I agree with that. Crystal Arcade is the first map up. Bans are in. Wow. Okay. This is going to be a 6-ban affair then. The Surge, the Crow, the Squeak on the side of FF Moon, the Spike, the Ruffs, the Byron for Serenity. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense because we have seen Eve banned on both sides so frequently today already. But now we get to see her play for, I think, the first time today. The responses to Max and the M's from FF Moon going with the speed and some suppression from them. But that Eve pick, yeah, that's a good one to bag early on from Serenity, Trav.
I mean, you can see how it fares now in the new meta. Lola's going to be paired with it, and maybe looking at a mid-brawler with Lola there, being able to tank a lot with that ego, and especially with the gadgets. Sandy going to be picked up, which is an SESA favorite, as I did learn last month. And Bo. Oh, I've been waiting to see this. A bit of bow action coming in from FA Upper Moon. Increased projectile speed, and it does pack a punch.
I gotta say, when I first got my hands on the dev build to try bow, I fell in love again with that brawler. This is one of the sort of more subtle balance changes that we've seen come into play, but one that I think is actually probably arguably one of the most underestimated ones. You cannot dodge these shots nearly as well as you previously could. Like, there is so little reaction time, and you can just see there why. ZZK making it work so well, and it's very, very difficult now. And also, I've got to point out the fact that we've not seen both for so long means that the idea of where the mines are placed now is a threat that hasn't been on the minds of players for a very long time. I found that out the hard way playing a lot of Snake Prairie this week. Like, you know, calling those things out is something that if you've been accustomed to a lot over time of seeing a brawler ripe in the meta, then it becomes common nature, commonplace. But that is going to be something which teams are going to have to be paying a lot of attention to. It is a good start for FA Upper Moon. 4 gems in the pocket, a spray as well for the gems to show for it. But at the same time, response coming in as Serenity takes some more mid control here.
Yeah, well, as Serenity do take down those bow mines, the wall is taken down along with it, and that should help out CZK, but not really going to help out the rest of his team as they do fall down. Serenity do start the gem count now with 10 in hand, and no signs of FA Upper Moon anywhere to be seen. Can't really get too close to that. Sandstorm's going to be placed down. Still a lot of aggression coming in. Tenham trying to push around the right-hand side, but no shots going on to those gem carriers. And that is going to be the first game secured. A lot closer than it looked towards the end, but definitely a convincing game nonetheless.
Now, I'm not trying to backtrack here at all. No, I mean, I wouldn't do that after just a one game loss against arguably the favourites here. But I'll just mention it for the stream. We were saying before going live, or at least I was, that I did feel like this could actually be an upset here. I still went on the prediction side for FF the Moon, but Serenity Esports are capable of upsets here. For sure. There's no doubt in my mind about it. Upper Moon behind here, but they have got experience on this side, a lot of it. So they've got to really dig into that now and kind of remind themselves as to why they are in the position that they are in. They had some great control, but just dropped the ball a little bit in that last game. They can't do that this time round, or it could be a set going their way of their opposition.
Yeah, well, one thing we don't have to backtrack on is how strong this bow is. It's been maintaining like control near enough the entire map for majority of this game here, and those walls are broken up as well. Still a mine laying on the floor too, so Samaj has got to be careful about that. Not able to trip it just yet, and now he's going to trip it, and he's going to get connected by it, stunned and taken down. Coup Decay going to rotate over to the right-hand side, but a good gem lead has been established now by FA Upper Moon, which is something they've got to be a little bit worried about. However, looking back to the last game, a massive turnaround is always on the cards for this team.
Yeah, got to keep their wits about them, and Again, those bow mines, they look so easy to us to avoid, right? It's just like, oh, what is he doing? Like, it's really difficult to keep your game sense on point when it comes to those. And if they're placed at a time when you're not, in the mix, if you're respawning back in, you're dependent on communication, and that's not an easy thing to do. But it does seem like FA Upper Moon got that one right. They learned from their mistakes and kept their composure from start to finish. Yeah, I've got to say, I agree with you, Trav. The bow pick working wonders here so far for FA Upper Moon, despite that little fumble in that first game.
Yeah, it seems like maybe the Ems is struggling a little bit more against the Lola, who's really providing some solid control all around for Serenity. But as the sides do swap, it seems to be definitely in favor of FA Upper Moon. Little shot coming through, and little Pet does follow up as well, and another one. Orchid constantly shooting these down, but now a pinch comes in from Tenghoon, who has got his side quite convincingly in a really, really solid position, picks up his super as well. So now Serenity do have to be careful, but they don't know he's got it, so a pinch should now arise, and that it does. Samar should fall, and control should be flipped in favor of Upper Moon. Or not.
Yeah, lovely done there from Tenghoon, gotta say. Gems picked up though, the Ems. The worst thing to trade them over. Bo's actually a very viable gem carrier for a lot of occasions. I mean, CZK playing it very aggressively, but I think there's nothing necessarily wrong with him having them here. They are going to be potentially split, though, as Orca is the mid here, so that's to be taken into consideration. Not the ideal circumstances, but better than leaving them there for Serenity to take and getting closer to countdown here. They are in control, however. It's got to be said, they've got a lot of utility going down with the Sandstorm, and it's down to FA Upper Moon to push this one back, and this is their chance to do so. There's a nice pinch coming in between CZK and Orca coming in, but they need to aggress this mid. They need to get some gems in their pocket to keep this game alive.
Yeah, the Pets come down, and looks like it might connect. That it does, bringing him even lower. One shot does get taken down, and Orca with 6 in his hand, but all control in the favor of Serenity, and no signs of them letting up either. So Lark is going to be playing the left-hand side, and Coop Decay in the mid now, who has a lot more ability to tank these shots. Orca's going to go down as well, and the countdown kicks off for Serenity, who are in an amazing position heading on in this game. First set can be secured right here. All they have to do is stay up for 10 seconds.
Decay is so dangerous on this Lola pick, I've got to say. Like, his spray today is on absolute points, and that is going to be it. Serenity will take the first set against the team which have yet to not appear in a grand final. But this is a shaky situation for them. You can just see how much it means to Lark. He knows it. To be able to get the dub here, I mean, he can barely believe it himself, Trav, I think. I mean, they had a great performance last month, and I said, like, they are capable of upsets. But that wasn't enough to take my prediction away and hand over to Serenity. If they get the win this month, I think next month I might be reconsidering myself here.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, if it follows in the trend we've seen so far, whoever's won the first set has finished it out in the second. So definitely a possibility of that happening here if FA Upper Moon don't really up their game. And I feel maybe some holes in their draft there, playing a few brawlers who do struggle once the control has been lost and very much require having it all to themselves, which is a really, really difficult possibility to have when you are up against, a Sandy lane, a Lola lane. They're difficult ones to win, and you really do have to have control for the majority of the game to really make a comp like that work, and it just really wasn't working in their favor. However, though, Sneaky Fields is up next, and that does favor a bit of aggression, which I think this team does really deploy when playing in these kind of modes.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite Brawl map, straight out the gates, gotta say it. I think you've got to ban Max here. I mean, it kind of was allowed to be played there. I say allowed because there's just so much potential to shut it down, really. But FF Moon were not able to make it work, and I think they really kind of think through their comp here quite carefully. This is like potentially their last chance to do so. They kind of got to play it safer for me a little bit. I love a lot of their ideas, don't get me wrong. I think the bow pick works. I think the max pick could have worked, but I think Serenity just have a great handle on their draft here. And again, that cannot be underestimated here. I think you kind of have to ban Rosa here, really. I mean, it's maybe got a lot more potential to be counted now in the draft format that we have, but at the same time, it's still just a fierce thing to reckon with. Squeak, is big up there on the bans for me. I think we might even see that on both sides, to be honest, because again, that registry gadget combined on the super side with a lot of that slow can do so much work. You can shut down that entire left-hand side lane. If you just place that correctly, get that visibility in the bush, and that ability to shut things down. And also great ability to shut down the spawn trap as well, to be able to really just tie things up in a smart way. And just be able to, if you know, on this particular map, there's a big advantage to being able to pocket the ball as well. Squeak kind of takes that away from the equation massively so, and can apply a lot of pressure. But again, a very, very important draft here for FA Upper Moon, who could be exiting in the quarterfinals despite having made the grand final every month until now. Serenity know that they are able to turn these screws, but can they do it? That's the question.
Bans should be in momentarily, and I'd be a little bit scared of a surge on this map as well. Not only is it does struggle at those closer range engagements, but once you get the jump in the bush, you're going to have some evasiveness. You were right about the Squeak, though. It is banned out by FA Upper Moon, along with a Rosa and a I'm forgetting the name, Eve, Ems, Ruffs, and Byron on the other side. So we do have another 6-ban game. Sandy going to be picked out by Serenity, SESA favourite, as I like to say, but Leon in return, which is a very solid brawler, but really doesn't make use of his invisibility in this extremely grassy map.
Yeah, unless you're able to kind of get behind things and really work the angles. Gale here, though, I love, gotta say, it's always a good brawler to have. There has been a little bit of a nerf to his stun, but I didn't necessarily notice it massively so. The pro pick from Serenity is kind of smart here. The comp is definitely lacking in some places, I would say, but at the same time, pro is a really common pick in this region, and could have been a better one, arguably, maybe, than the Leon for the first pick for FA Upper Moon here. Could be a Spike here next, maybe, just simply because ultimately they want to cover their bases for a potential tank. The Ems being banned was a smart idea, but it was their own, and that is the case. I mean, Trav, you can say it for me. Go for it. Go on, just say it for me.
I mean, you might as well just predict all the comps at this point. You're just going to go straight out and you're going to draft for both teams, and they're going to go along with it. I will say that Lark did not look happy about that bow pick that came through there. Head in hands, not happy about it at all. But I mean, bow didn't work out for FA Upper Moon in the last one. Well, technically it did on the lane, but as an overall brawler, it didn't really help out the team too much. And I will say I prefer Serenity's comp.
Yeah, I do a little bit, but I mean, we know what CZK can do with the bow pick. It's got to get it super early and quickly to be able to open up some of this map, and that's ideally what the crow pick is for Serenity. They want to be able to keep the bush and reveal the brawlers, but if they can break the bush on the side of FF Moon, then it may turn the tide, but they've got to earn it first, and there's no supers on any side of the field now with Orca who goes down. So it's 3 versus 2, and a nice shutdown there from K. ZZK is forced to pocket the ball, and only for so long. It's gonna, oh, great knockback. I was about to eat my words there, but regardless, I mean, that early pressure trap from Serenity, that is a fierce start for them. Quite the statement.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just look at this control, and it's just happening again. Complete wipes of this team. Sandstorm available, jump in. Crow's not going to connect, but this time it is going to be a goal. There's no knockback there to stop them. Serenity take the 1-0 lead and a Sandstorm in hand as well. Got to be cautious of these bow mines in the mid, which is going to take Samaj a little bit of time to get rid of, but once they do, the control should be maintained in their favor once again, because this Sandstorm has just provided them complete control of the grass.
Continue pressure forwards, and similar story that we've seen so far. Despite only a minute or so of play, it has been FA Upper Moon that have really struggled to make this get this ball out of spawn, really get themselves out of spawn. It's just been on the back foot the entire time, and another super to the hand of Coop Decay is surely going to shut this idea down. Yep, maybe in straight onto the mid there if they get this takedown. Playing it very slowly, but they don't need to play it fast. Honestly, they've got the goal that they need. It's really all down to FF Moon to respond, and they can't so far to this pressure, this scrutiny from Serenity. They are really, really knuckling down, and it just looks so easy for them to be able to do so, which is such a strong thing to say against the team that are fierce competition. I mean, they are the biggest rivals of free-win agents who have won every monthly final, and they're looking like they could be up against a match point in that fashion. Oh my word! disgusting, and ZZK knows it.
Oh my. Oh my. I mean, it was a goal regardless. He had to cover the pass, but you can never not get excited about a trick shot like that, can you? Double bounce shot into the goal. And CZK did not look happy about it on that face cam. Match point into Serenity's hands here, and it's looking like it's going to go their way if nothing changes from the previous game. Sandy's just providing so much pressure. I mean, not this time early on, but in the previous game, it was just such a dominant force.
Wow. I mean, how do you pick yourselves up from that? I mean, clearly not that well. This is looking like a walkover. I hate to say it, but it is, and that is going to be a tough thing to I mean, it's hard when you're up against the match point as it is, but after the back of a trick shot, I mean, that's even more salt to the wound. Let's see whether FF Moon can collect themselves there. I don't think they can. There's just so much going on here. Sweet Dream stunned there for good measure. I think it was going in regardless, but makes perfect sense to do so, to just make sure and ensure it. Oh my word, FF Moon, not a goal, little hope, and they've got to turn this around, or this one is definitely over.
What? Puts himself in a tough position, but does get out. Samaj with a jump as well. Orca was slowed down there. Trying to make a push down this right-hand side, but can't really make any moves whatsoever. Samaj just shutting him down so well. Lark did rotate over to the left-hand side to try and get a few shots off onto the bow, who is pinned very heavily in spawn now. Super's widely available from FA Upper Moon, and is stunned onto Coup Decay, who survives though. Curveball hits and Crow burns down. Sandy starting to push in. Crow jump available. Surprised they didn't try and make a play there, but then going to be able to keep this control regardless, and there is no forceful plays needed. They're 1-up, 50 seconds on the clock, and match point is in their hands.
This is do or die right now. There's a chance. There is a glimmer. And I feel like FF Moon can do this, but they really have got to make sure the communication is on point. Nice stun from Orca. 3 versus 1 now. This cannot be fumbled. It cannot be messed up. There is a goal there. There is still hope. It's 1-1, but it is still FF Moon up against match point, and a Sandy Sandstorm nicely shut down by Orca, got to be said, but it's a dangerous thing should this go to overtime, Trav.
Yeah, he's going to be working for another Sandstorm again. Jump available as well, and they're pinned heavily in spawn. Spike Super comes down, and they are not in a good position whatsoever. Are there any stuns left? He doesn't have any there, but the shots are going to follow up anyway. And the Twister in front of the goal, but the jump straight through. CZK passes him the ball, and that is going to... Is it going to be it?
Oh my god! No way! Oh my goodness me! What an amazing defense! I have never seen a Twister used to so much effect. What a play from Orca. This one is still going, Trev. It's still alive. I can barely believe what I just saw.
If they can keep themselves in it now, that is going to be the biggest play of the year. Coup Decay is going to push forward, though. Super available. The pass should be there. He passes it straight through. Lark is going to finish it off. And Serenity are going to the semi-finals, but that play was just absolutely phenomenal. Lark's loving it. And I can't blame him. He's played so well, and Serenity making a massive upset in the 4th quarterfinal.
Congratulations to Serenity. I mean, maybe we should have humbled down a bit heavier at the beginning of that matchup. We sort of slid in after the first game. The fact that we were saying before the show started that this is the team that are capable of upsets and big ones at that. What a play, though. I mean, that Gale play towards the end is all that I'm going to remember for the rest of today, regardless, and nothing to take away from Serenity. But I think they'll be the first to say that that was a very, very big brain there from Orca. But yes, Serenity go through. They'll play cases in the semi-finals. Congratulations to them. They've made it now to the semi-finals for the 2nd month in a row. Huge upset there. Massive upset. I mean, who wasn't predicting FA Upper Moon to take that one? I mean, surely everyone at home was the same as us voting for them, but wasn't to be, Trev. We're not going to see them in the grand final for the first time this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone from MSI contenders to out in the first round when they needed to win the entire thing and have someone else lose. A terrible month for FA Upper Moon, but still in a great position overall in terms of standings, so you can't count them out of the greater picture further on down the line. But nonetheless, we do have our semi-final games already written out for us, and they're going to be some absolutely amazing ones at that.
Yeah, let's take a look at them right now, actually, for sure. It's been a very exciting day so far. huge storylines here, huge upsets as well, but no sign of a third and final set. We are breezing through today very, very swiftly. Freeman Agents pick up the dub against Southern Cross. That was what secured themselves in our mid-season invitational lineup. So congratulations to Freeman Agents, despite they being unconcluded. That has been a very big achievement for them. They will face off against Viro Esports, who have made it to the semifinals for the first time this year so far, failing to make it past the quarters until now. But that is a big giant for them to face. Salty Gang left again with that salty taste in their mouth against Cases, who went forwards into the semifinals to face now off against Serenity Esports after their win against big fan favorites FA Upper Moon. Again, a team that have faced off against Freeman Agents in every grand final this year so far, but exiting in the quarterfinals this time round. And yeah, that was not the result they were looking for. And I like their drafts, I like their ideas, but just were not able to bring it together in a way that was convincing enough to take the win against Serenity.
Yeah, hugely disappointing loss for them as well, and it's just widening the gap between this first and second place in terms of points if Freeman Agents can continue their winning streak of monthly finals and take a third one. First off, though, they do have Viro Esports standing in their way, and looking at what we saw in the quarterfinals, Freeman Agents were definitely looking shaky, especially if we're not going to see the return of response in these semi-finals as well. Viro were looking extremely good, so this could be a matchup really that could provide another huge upset if Viro can really show up.
I'm with you. I mean, Freeman Agents, whether they were memeing or trolling or just kind of enjoying the moment earlier on today, I mean, they were not looking like their former selves. And I don't mean to slant this towards Instinct, not in any way at all, but just to point out that we haven't seen Instinct playing with Freeman Agents yet. This is the first month that we've actually seen him on the roster. So how that was going to play out is still a question mark, simply for that fact. Got to sort of be with you on that side of things. Viro had, on the other side of things, a very, very convincing first matchup today. They look to be more like what we came to expect from them in that first month going back to March, and that is potentially very worthy opposition here for Freeman Agents. The pressure maybe alleviates a little bit for them as they've now secured that MSI place, but they still want to continue to dominate this region and keep their place in the grand finals. So there is that question still to answer, but we'll be lining up this matchup for you guys. We're going to take a very short break. We'll be right back, though. Don't go anywhere. Right back after this.
We could tell you all about Spike Air, our new brawling shoe with explosive technology and a podium-perfect profile. We could tell you it's banned in 42 countries for unfair advantages in the Brawl Stars Championship. But we'll let Spike do the talking. Spike Air. Look sharp.
Welcome in to the Brawl House.
The kick forward, the punch through, that's gonna be it!
No way!
This is what everyone is here to compete for. So without further ado, let's brawl!
Welcome back to the Brawl Stars Championship. We are in the SESA and ANZ region today, and it's been a quick day so far, Trevor. We are sailing through, but the action is coming in thick and fast, and some big upsets already today so far.
Yeah, it's been a bit spicy if you ask me. I will say, you boasted about all your predictions, and you were wrong. I mean, I'm 50%, so I can't really say much, but just had to put that in your mind that you were wrong at least once today.
We were wrong. You're 2 down. I'm only 1 down. Let's take a look at the bracket, guys. If you just joined the stream, of course, welcome in. Here's what you may have missed, but what is still to come as well. Free Win Agents had a cracking start for today, but the performance was a bit shaky, in our opinion at least, but enough to secure themselves a mid-season invitational position nonetheless. They will face up against Viro Esports. That is our match up next. Viro making it forward to the semi-finals for the first time this year, so congrats to them so far, but still a lot of hard work still to come. KS's Lifeline's got the win over Salty Gang earlier today as well, and we just saw the matchup between FA Upper Moon and Serenity Esports, which ended in a 2-0. 2-0's all round, but Serenity Esports, a huge upset. FA Upper Moon have made the grand final every month this year. This time round, for May, not going to be the case. So, KS's Lifeline's up against Serenity, but up next, Free Win Agents up against Viro Esports. Trav, we were talking through our predictions just before we started the stream after our break. We're both going with Free Win Agents. I mean, it's it's fair to say. But we can't count the fact that they didn't look their former selves today. They've looked very, very good from March to April, but today looked just a bit messy. It just looked a bit messy.
Yeah, I'm no longer going to be calling predictions safe bets at all, because we've just seen so many upsets throughout different monthly finals throughout the year, especially in this region just now. So it's not a safe bet, but I think they definitely are the favourites going into this one. We did mention Viro. They're a team who definitely could provide an upset here if they do play very well, and Free Win Agents carry on their same laid back approach to this monthly final.
Yeah, so if you're over at event.brawlstars.com right now, that's a good prediction to kind of consider. That's our thoughts over here on the desk at least, and make sure that you log in there with your Supercell ID, connect your game up, of course, because there are in-game rewards to be had over there. Get some gold, get some tokens, I think some star points are there as well. Of course, you're working your way up to get exclusive in-game pins to flex on your friends, flex on your rivals, all that good stuff. This month, we are giving away Thorn. Thorn is the competitor that we are giving away in the pin this month, but if you are behind a little bit, then there's still Box of Roses available to be able to catch up with, as well as last month's Shredder pin as well. So good luck to you guys at home. We'll be talking you through our thoughts as we go. So far though, predictions for me look pretty good. 3-1, Trav's down 2-2. So, you can't really go wrong this time round, unless, of course, there's a huge upset and Free Win Agents go out. And then, Trav, you're going to be doing worse than you are doing well in your predictions. So let's hope that's not the case for you. And Dueling Beats was up next. Give us your thoughts. What were we looking at here? There's a lot of changes that could come into effect here, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Surge might be quite strong here. You get the gadget pops, get some early level 3 going on, get some long-range shots. The jumps over the wall could be extremely strong. I feel like that's probably a brawler that will be banned out, though, along with a few other strong ones we've seen throughout today. Squeak. We saw Livy play on this map, I believe, in North America, and that was prior to the buff as well, so you've got to be a little bit worried about what's to come if that isn't really banned out, and the same with a few other brawls. Eve still seeming very strong. Seen a few snippets of Fang today as well, which has also been still very, very viable.
Got to ban Lou. Got to ban Lou. Is it banned? It's not banned. It's got to be picked here, surely. It was a huge map for Lou. Does not necessarily fare as well if there's a wall breaker, but I mean, there's so much ability to shut this one down if there is. Byron picked up first for Viro, which is a good solid one to have. Absolutely great range, and again hasn't dropped off massively since the nerf to him, so I still think viable option. But Tick, Squeak, Eve, Surge, Leon, Ruffs, 6 bans in play here, Trav. Again, we've seen, I'm starting to feel like we've seen more instances of 6 brawlers being banned than anything else so far today, actually.
Yeah, I think that's actually kind of a true statistic, to be honest. We've seen it happen time and time again, and that's very, very uncommon to happen, I will say, especially with, you know, being the solidified few brawlers. But as you can see, we're seeing some targeted bans, we're seeing some really strong brawlers being banned, but then we're seeing some targeted to the map, like Tick. Just getting that out of the way, not really wanting to play against a thrower. Wouldn't be something I'd have expected, but nonetheless, we are seeing near enough the entire draft. Byron, Stu, and Bell coming out from Viro Esports. We've got Sprout and Lola so far from Free Win Agents, and so far I feel like I maybe give Viro Esports a bit of an advantage if they can really pin the Sprout and Spawn off the start.
I'm surprised that no one's gone Luke, gotta be honest. I really felt that was gonna be a good shout, but Rosa coming out. I like the Lola pick for sure for Free Win Agents. I guess one of these players safe with Rosa, but you can build a lot of bush in the middle of this map, which I assume is the plan here with the Grow Light gadget. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of range. It's got to be said at the disposal of Viro. They've also got the ability to break with the breakthrough on the Stu side, and response. We didn't see play. We didn't see response earlier today, so I think he's coming in for this matchup, right? Or am I dreaming?
Yes. No, I think so. I think Response is the one subbed out for Instinct, but Instinct is staying in, and this time we will be seeing Sergeant being subbed out. And they do need to try and establish some good control with this Sprout early on, or as it can go quite downhill if they do stop rotating these walls over and over again and just recycling them, putting them down. But so far, we're looking at a bit of an even game. Instinct taking some heavy fire from Razale, who does actually get taken down, not using Gas Heal, I believe. I think he's using Zero Drag.
Not my preferred, but I mean, I've seen it definitely being considered a lot, actually, as an option across regions. I think EMEA is definitely still on the side of Gas Hill, but this Rose pick's working. I mean, I was kind of on the side of it being maybe the downfall of this comp, but I mean, it's response on it, and we know what he can do. Yeah, you're right, it is Zero Drag actually on the Stu side of things, and but again, like, it's so much mid-control. This Lola is so suppressive, combined with just the tankiness of Rosa in this position here, and there's really nothing the Viro can do about this. I feel like Free Win Agents have got this on point, and they're playing it a lot better. As I say that, it's a team wipe, but so much work to be done for Viro. They cannot drop the ball here at all. There's no time for fumbles now.
Yeah. Should be an easy push over. Response does get his super splash thrown over the top of him onto Instinct, but nonetheless, it looks like they're going to close this one out. If Response can't, Coop will, and that they do. Taking the first game fairly comfortably. It's a bit of an issue at the start and towards the later game, but managed to finish it off nonetheless. I feel like maybe they just need an earlier break from the breakthrough, just straight away get your super, go straight for the walls and play for the later game once all the walls are gone down, but just doesn't seem like they're really trying to deploy that strategy, and it's really allowing Free Win Agents to thrive.
Yeah, they can choose to burn the bush as well. I mean, that's kind of the approach and the idea there of going with things. I mean, you know, I do see Speed Zone working quite well as a gadget choice here as well, but that's a great start from Rizzo. It goes down now. I'd like to have stayed in the mix, but that is the trade-off between Zero Drag and Gasser Hill, and yeah, he chose to go with the Zero Drag, and I don't mind it here, but I would think that in Hot Zone you want a bit more survivability on this new side of things, and at the moment, that is more on the side of Free Win Agents, who have also that mid-control and so much push being developed there, again, off the back of that Rosa Grow Light. Let's see now as Instinct is caught off guard, and it's a 2 versus 1. They've got to hold down response here. They've got to mark him up quick as well and get a super on the side of the bell there as well. No sign of it yet. Take down. Looking better for Viro, though. Got to be said. It's supposed to match up, but they've got to hold this bit control, and they're not able to do that so far.
Yeah, the thing is with Zero Drag, they're just waiting for him to finish his dash and then shooting him because he hasn't got the same healing and mobility combination that a Gasaheel would have. And it's really showing here, can't really do too much, and full control now is in the hands of Freewin Agents, and he's just been absolutely melted over and over again. See the Rosa now returning from the top. Response did manage to take that one down as well. Aaron does splash himself, but it's not going to make any different whatsoever in terms of mid control as he does get taken down. And Rosaille's doing a solid job now, is making some avoidances in mid, but eventually it is inevitably will be taken down, and Freewin Agents looking like they're going to take the first set, and I think Aaron has given up, so that is going to be GG here.
Yeah, I think Response just pummeling him into submission there with some sprays and some punches and some pins. Definitely trying to get inside the mind games of the approach, and again, you know, why not? It's an angle to competitive, and you know, for a team like Freewin Agents who have got all that experience behind them and many grand final appearances, not just everyone of this year's, but also from last year as well. You know, that means confidence, and against teams that are, you know, finding themselves in unfamiliar territory, they can go a long way. I mean, with sprays now in the game as well, like I feel like when those sprays start to get a bit more taunty, then we're going to see that play even more so into the equation. But swiftly moving past hot zones, we have been swiftly moving past every set today. It's a hot potato. You know, we did genuinely see a little bit of surge in hot potato in the past now, but I do wonder how this map is going to fare now, is it with the 3-ban rule, potentially up to as many as 6 brawler bans in play. And we have seen, I believe I'm right in saying that we've seen 6 brawlers being banned for the last 3 drafts that we've seen so far. I don't know. I mean, to be honest though, I've got to say that I did feel like if we had the eventuality of 6 brawlers being banned, that we might see some kind of weird and wacky comps. We haven't seen that so far today. I've got to say that so far, despite my thoughts being pretty much on the fence, because I want to see it play out. I want to see how it feels, and you know, under my own thumbs as well as watching others' thumbs, it's working out really well. I think this is a great format change, and one that you've got to give the Brawl Stars team praise for, because it is showing that it's working. You know, it really is. Even with 6 brawlers being banned, it is still looking like a competitive matchup.
Yeah, it just opens up a lot more avenues, and you get rid of the best 6 brawlers, and you're going to be playing the next best 6 brawlers. It really doesn't make too much of a difference in terms of competitive integrity. It just takes away those stronger brawlers that really do give that game a bit of an unusual level of rock paper scissors to it, and allowing you to just kind of play purely on skill. And I imagine we'll see something fairly similar to that on Hot Potato, as you said. Surge, a great brawler here. I believe it's Craze Clan in EMEA who have been playing it so much recently, and it does play so well on this map. But with 6 bans, it's going to be really difficult to, you know, kind of predict what they're going to be bringing in here, because, you know, they're probably going to get rid of quite a few tanks and a lot of throwers, so it might be down to just kind of that general control comp once more.
Squeak as well. I mean, we've seen banned so much. We haven't seen, I think, any Squeak today so far. I think for good reason as well. We'd like to see a bit more from the Vision gear that we, you know, reworked away from the Resistance gear. Actually, doesn't seem to have found its mark so far, just as an observation, since the balance change is coming into play. Maybe like a bit more radius would be nice, actually. It only really shows that one tile of Vision when I was playing it on my games myself. Okay, so we got an Eve, a Squeak, a Ruffs, a Brock, a Crow, and a Ruff. So 5 bans this time. Okay, well, I thought we were going to almost get there with another 4 in a row for 6 bans, but it is the 5. And I think that they are all good bans, actually. Crow, as we know, is a common pick here for this region overall. I wouldn't say necessarily the strongest pick on this particular map. I do like the Rico, I do like the Daryl, but that Ems pick I know is one that Freewin Agents wanted as their first pick. And the response is another tank. So I think tank counters now got to be in the cards. Spike, lock it down, Viro, you know what to do. I got the M's, I guess. Well, yeah, Barley actually, yeah, makes a lot of sense. Spike, those should be probably what Freewin Agents doing, right?
Possibly so. I mean, Spike is going to struggle quite heavily against Barley. That's the thing now, though. They've just got to be a little bit wary of that matchup. I think Barley's going to be very good in the early game, but as soon as Daryl starts to get those supers and Rico starts to establish himself with a bit of control, then it will start to crumble a bit more. We're just waiting on this pick here. BB. Hello, BB. Wow. It's been a while, but a little bit of a recent change might bring it in a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, HP base increased from 4,200 to 4,400. So, you know, base damage increased from 1,300 to 1,400. Small tweaks. I mean, you know, BB has not, as you rightly say, been very meta. But it seems like Freeman Agents clearly have tried some things out with her, and there was a big time where she was ripe here. That cannot be denied. There was definitely a BB meta on Hot Potato in the past. So this could be the resurgence of it. I'm all for it. I'd love to see it be a brawler which shines back in this particular map, and why not? There we go. Why not Freeman Agents?
Yeah, you can't tell me a 7,200 HP BB when he's using that shield gear doesn't really scare you too much, but he's getting a little bit of damage on the safe response is going to go up as well, and Bull coming out the spawn should slow that down a little bit, but that does look menacing, that BB HP. Response going to try go in, does get his roll back, but Raziel does the same, and he gets his super back as well. And it was a positive trade in that 2v1 situation. Aaron trying to push up now as well. Coop going to try and take down Jay, but can't quite do it. Rico trying to clean up, but that is a lot of damage dealt by those two brawlers.
Yeah, and with an Ems as well following it up, that is already looking like a potential game. Now, Freeman Agents, they've got to hold this. They've got to end this now, effectively. They can do it. The comp is good for it, to be honest, especially with the Rico. But the control of the Barley could be a factor here, and that's why Response going in there. And he knows it. And he's a great brawler to really counter the Barley, to counter the Ems, but now they're leaving the Bull, who's actually come back here. That's actually going to open the doors for Instinct. He can get some shots on the safe here. This is looking really close now, but one Barley super, this is basically all over.
Yeah, Barley super not on the safe though. BB Bull's going to go up. Response is just going to leave, try to get some damage, and can Coop defend this? Bull's coming back. He does not fancy the base race. He's going to leave it to Barley and Ems, but it's going to be finished off anyway as he cleans up Response. But even if he didn't go back there, it was going to be done a little bit faster than that anyway. Now that is going to be 1-0 to Viro in Hot Potato here.
I mean, the BB pick, like you say, is a daunting one to be looking at. I can see as well, like, you know, just again, when you have this in a brawler for so long, you have to remind yourselves of the mechanics, and like, her bubblegum is a real threat. That spitball, honestly, you know, does add up over time. You keep cycling that over the safe, it's continuous damage. But I think that Freeman Agents maybe just a bit overly aggressive in that last game. They've got a great ability to control the situation with that Rico pick, and no wall breakers, you know, to really take away from that. So they should realistically, in my opinion, at least for the draft, they've got be able to make a solid comeback here, and they've done so already with 49% damage off the bat. That is a much more promising start for them.
Definitely looking better, and Instinct connecting a lot more shots as well. Coop making some more moves. Good super from him there. Instinct getting double connection, but not quite taking down Raziel, who does have his star power popped on safe. Berserker does get that extra bit of damage, but up top as well, he did manage to secure some more. Response gets his super, going to roll onto the Ems there, not going to go for anybody else, and he does manage to stay up as well, gets the takedown, but Instinct trades him out. Couldn't have come at a better time. Instinct can throw out his super, not going to make any connections onto Aaron, and that should allow him to heal up a little bit more, but here comes Coop, does get the swing onto him. That sticky syrup comes down and does stop any further pushes happening. Viro playing things slow, trying to get a little bit of chip damage here and there, but they've still got to defend this BB, who's going to be doing a lot of damage.
Now coming in again, and he's going to be able to get damage, and I think it's the right move. Instant going forwards is the right move there for me, absolutely. They've got to double down there. That would have been a moment where, as we saw in the last game, we saw a lot of defensiveness. You've got to get those balances in Hot Potato, honestly, between going on the offense, going on the defense, and just tying it up there was the right move. Very close games, though. I feel like I'm still with Freeman Agents here to take this set myself. But they've got to play it right again. That early game for them, that last game, was very, very key for them. They can't drop the ball like that, like they did in the first game. Got to keep this Ems in check. Jay is dangerous. If he gets in that safe, and Instinct now being low, probably should pop a bouncy castle here, in all honesty, to really bring his HP back. But playing it risky does find the pickup as well. So actually, well played, but missed the super as well off the back of that. So now it's going to heal up accordingly, and I think it's the right time for it.
Yeah, Barley getting some damage though, and it's decent. 22% off the super and a couple of shots. Response pushing up now though. Goes for the super in. Not sure if that's the best choice. Coop going to get knocked back there as well, and now Instinct all alone. Raziel's going to come in once more. Does have his super, pops it as well. He gets the takedown onto Bull, but they've still got all the control and a good lead as well. So Freeman Agents still need to be very, very worried about what's to come. Jay's got his super, in a position to get some good value off it, but chooses not to. He's got full faith in the Bull being able to take down Coop.
Nice teamwork there between Jay and Roselle. Instinct, though, clears up nicely. Aaron, still a threat here. Got to be taken care of. Got damage gear rolling in as well. Gets some super value on the safe end and a nice sticky syrup mixer as well to deter. ASIC is the right gadget realistically under the circumstances. Response coming in as well. Getting some nice value. Gets traded out, though, on the left-hand side. That might open things up for Instinct to push through the mid here. They are behind here. Freeman Agents need to get more damage. Be able to take this set still. They've got a good comp for it. Response, yeah, focusing on the M's is the right call here, but at the same time, Roselle pushing forwards as we sin, getting on that safe. The ball is not what you want to see if you're Freeman Agents. There's going to be a lot of damage running in now. Coop forced back.
13% left on it. Super's there as well, and it's just going to be done. They cannot defend it at all, and there you go. There is the second set, making it 1-1. Hot Potato is going to be taken by Viro Esports, evening things out. And this is what we're talking about. This game that didn't seem like it was going to be this close in that first set is now evened out, and Viro definitely still very in contention for this game though.
They'll definitely felt the winning of that back of that victory. He could see it in his eyes how much it meant to them to get that dub. They did not want to be 2 sets down there, and I feel like they drafted it well. I'm just, I'm biased with Rico, man. If it's a Rico on one side of the field, automatically I have to side with that. But this now is very, very interesting moving in then to shoot and start. Anyone wants to play for, and considering that we've seen sweeps and nothing but sweeps all day long, it's nice to see now a bit of fight coming back into the mix, and we've got a real match on our hands.
Yeah, definitely so, especially on Shooting Star as well. I'm really eager to see how the 6 bans do affect this map, because I think it's going to be absolute carnage. Get rid of the throwers, get rid of the long range. You're going to be playing tanks, you're going to be playing Max, you're going to be playing all these different brawlers who would not usually be played in an all long range map, and I'm just a little bit worried about what's going to come out here.
I don't know, you see, I think Max would be banned. I think that's kind of like the go-to strat, isn't it? It's like you kind of either go with like your long range approach with your Pipers, your Brox, ticks, all that kind of good stuff, Nanny, or you kind of go with like the aggressiveness, or of I think pretty much. I think it was this last year that really pinned down the idea of a Pam, Max, and Leon idea, and kind of crazy such things. But you're right, yeah, it's definitely going to make things interesting. I feel like you've kind of got to ban your usual suspects realistically here. Ban your Pipers, ban your Nanny, 100%. Brock, tick, basically what we saw as being the core kind of meta last year, really. And maybe even a Sprout ban. We've seen kind of Sprout have this kind of not weird, but like interesting development where he's actually been a viable kind of thrower on this particular map to be able to shut in the mid. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. I think Squeak could be a viable one here as well now, to have that control over the situation. Crow, I think there's actually a lot of brawlers that this region can bring out the pocket here, and yeah, this is going to be a very, very interesting draft. Oh, I see Janet. Not going to be seeing any of Janet today, though. She's not in the game yet, guys, but will surely be, and that's going to really mix things up when she comes in.
Yeah, there's very nice animations on this one here. Nice little new map environment coming through, the stunt show. And it is looking beautiful, very beautiful on the way, but we are focusing on the map more than that here. And you've got some, opposing thoughts to me. I think it's going to be very difficult to pick, anything that's remotely good here. And you're thinking maybe we can play something like a Crow or something like that. I mean, you're going to have to play something at the end of the day, so it might have to be a Crow if all the long range scenarios are taken out the mix.
This is the thing. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it does mean that with so many potential bans in play, that some brawlers will become viable now on this particular map. It was actually, I would think, fair to say that when discussing with the pro scene of all the maps, which they were kind of like the most wary of when it came to the new free ban rule, is shooting star. How's that going to look? Are we going to see like a tank meta start to form now with some kind of like poker double tank ideas pushing forwards here? Personally, I'm not too convinced. I think that's kind of quite an easy thing to foresee when it comes to a draft process, but the bans now, very, very important. Gene, Crow, Tick, Max, Eve, Gene. So 5 bans in play. It's the double Gene ban on both sides. So clearly, healing puffs and a magic hand. Not what either of these two teams want to see, but the Max, the Max ban's interesting. We just, open up the doors to a lot of suspects. Nanny, Brock, Piper. Potentially also Squeak, or maybe even maybe like a late pick on the on the Sprout side. Piper for Viro Esports makes sense for me. Leon, yeah, I can see that. I mean, we can and have seen Leon a lot on this map. So far, looking actually quite traditional, Trav, in all honesty.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know how that's really happened, to be honest with you. I'm not sure why they're banning Crow and, you know, like even stuff before Nani and Piper on this map. It just doesn't really make much sense to me. I'm not sure if that is kind of the game plan they're getting in the mix, you know. You ban out all of the secondary brawlers and then we can still play the meta we're so used to. And there is the Sprout pick that you were saying. Coming in as the second pick for Free Gun Agents, going to follow it up with another one here. After the Piper and Leon were secured. I mean, that is just an extremely good normal comp from Viro Esports here, and pretty much the same from Free Win Agents. You're probably thinking something like a Brock or something like that, or a Bell. You know, to extend this range, Pam is maybe a little bit unusual in my eyes.
Yeah, a little bit. And again, I do feel like Sprout's good here, but I was expecting it to be like a little bit later on. Doesn't matter too much in the side. I mean, it's going to be a second or third for Free Win Agents, but clearly control is the nature of this idea from Free Win Agents, and just kind of really fortifying themselves into the mid, and depending possibly a little bit on the defense as well, just to allow Nani and the people to do its thing. This 6-pick bout, not a bad shout. I mean, yeah, I mean, always a good thing to have range on this particular map. Maybe the mark as well, specifically for the Pam as the tankier of the three on the side of Free Win Agents. So it does all make sense to me, as do the bans, realistically. It just kind of depends on what way teams want to swing this. You know, ultimately they've gone with the kind of more, the more avant-garde bans to keep the kind of more sort of common ideas still at play here on Shooting Star. Makes sense. All makes sense to me. Definitely, I would say the tougher comp to make work on the side of Free Win Agents, but one that's still very viable, especially when you've got a Nani to be able to really cycle in a lot of these peeps. But as I'm saying that, Cube Days goes down, so maybe that is something to reconsider there.
Yeah, that was a bit of a disgusting couple of taps from Jay there. Did get the double tap onto Coop, and he didn't pop return to sender, and there's another gadget going to be used onto him there. Takedown, and that is going to extend the lead to 6. I mean, Response is the next victim. Going to break the walls, though, and he does survive with hedging himself there, keeping himself locked in and alive, and that's the main thing.
Goes down and replacing that which is already gone. That's why I do like the pick here, and you know, ultimately, yeah, a nice follow-up. Oh, great use there on Response on the gadget side to keep this flow of action, and rewarded with a takedown for it. Oh, this is great scrutiny, great splash there as well from Response, and another wall to hand. Jay's got the stars, but at the moment, the lead is with Free Win Agents, and that blue star as well being the thing to hand it over to them. Back on the defense now, and yeah, that Sprout pick is getting actually more value so far than Nani. A chance now from Coop to ace to get some value of his own, and didn't quite do it.
Yeah, did get the pinch down, hit the wall, hit the Piper, but then it got pinched down, and Instinct did manage to secure it. I'm not sure if it was just me, but I feel like Viro kind of voluntarily gave up all control without a fight there and tried to play for their spawn, which you really don't want to be doing against this kind of comp that they have brought out. 6 stars still in it, though. Instinct going to be taken down, closing it down to 4, but Jay's too late to push. Return to sender was popped. The shot was missed anyway. I'm sure, much to Jay's happiness. Now starting to pin in. That's going to go down to 2 shots from Leon, but now he's going to have no ammo. Healing turret going to be placed, and no chance of a comeback now, as Free Win Agents are going to take this one. And I feel like maybe Viro did hand that to them a little bit after the lead that they did manage to get at the start.
Yeah, it was a really convincing start, gotta be honest. Feel like they had, you know, the ideas that they wanted to implement working for them really, really nicely. But that Sprout pick, yeah, I mean, you know, I almost start to hesitate slightly. You know, every time when I mention Sprout and the effectiveness of him, oh, I guess it, technically, yeah, on this particular map. But, you know, it really is great. It really can work. But that's a nice break, gotta be said. I mean, that's 2 sides broken this time round by Jay there. That's going to complicate things a little bit. That did not connect either on the lollipop drop if we're down in the end, regardless. But just that blue star now, separating no kills or deaths on either side so far. So just both sides looking to earn their supers. Really, it's Response that just keeps cycling his, and that's really what's keeping Free Win Agents able to hold this position.
Yeah, able to secure first kill of the game now. Really just been a battle of playing in mid and seeing who can get the takedown there. But now the invis comes in. Razael does secure it, pops another one. chooses not to go for Coop and try to take the lead. Backs off instead, and the homemade recipe will secure that one. Bell shot did connect as well, and a few bouncing shots do go back onto response, but he's going to be able to out-heal it anyway and play for this late game, which they really do need to bring back now as they are at a deficit.
Good shots, good taps there from Aaron, continuing so and keeping that shield all the while working. That's the pick up there from Roselle. Gives a more convincing lead in favor of Biro, and yeah, there's another pickup as well. Freeman Agents behind big time here, but have got themselves into a good spot with 30 seconds remaining as Roselle pops this super though as well. I think that's smoke trails there, I could be wrong, but either way, a lot of stars in the heads of these players as Freeman Agents really need to get some kills here in the final moment.
Yeah, well, it seems like it's going to be Biro the ones getting the takedowns here. Roselle trying to push once again. Coop does go down, but it is traded out. 5 seconds on the clock, and no chance of a comeback, as very one-sided as games have been so far up to now. We're seeing a 1-1 and a 1-1 in this set as well, to make it one game to see who is going to be taking this third set, taking an advantage and bringing the momentum onto what could be their winning set.
Well, yeah, this is I think a lot closer than many at home might be thinking, going into this matchup. When you consider that Viro Esports again, haven't found themselves in a semifinals this year. It really is all tied up in the draft, so very evenly matched so far. At the moment, that same story again with the blue star, but response can't be far away from another wall. Jay's gonna be looking to break though. This is definitely the strat that you want to implement here. They're pushing forwards in the mid as well, trying to pressurize the situation, and covered nicely by Coop to Ace. His response is in a vulnerable position there, to be honest. Instinct gonna come in now, bring down to 1000 HP, but not enough to take down, and actually forces out the jump from Jay, not breaking the mid there. Might be a strategic disadvantage actually for Byron, despite having the lead here.
Yeah, Jay getting a few shots onto Instinct. The wall is brought back by response and puts it in a position where he can't really be pinched down. Now he's gonna force them quite heavily into the spawn. Aaron getting pinched in, and Instinct pushing quite aggressively. Lovely play from him. Throws the turret and gets the takedown as well. Roselle does avoid it, but now 2 takedowns come in at the same time with a pinch from Response's shot. And Coops taking the lead 8-2 now, 45 seconds on the clock. So still some time for Biro to come back, but this lead is looking extremely convincing for Freeman Agents.
Coop may have just made up for the fact that he hit the wall with that last one, but yeah, really doubling down there. Nice connection from him. Response with the super handler yet again, and now going to use it again. The break is there from Jay finally, but it's such a late stage of the game, and had to realistically come out with his life there, and couldn't get so much value as he wanted to on the wall side of things. It's a convincing lead. Time still for a turnaround, but ticking down very swiftly. No sign of super from anyone on the side of Viro Esports. They're trying to close the gap here. Keep coming in for Coop and a follow-up shot. No, Aaron gets the pickup. Roselle staying alive as well. Not gonna be enough. Freeman Agents will take the second set then, and did well in all honesty, because they were looking a little bit shaky. There's a few moments there in Shooting Star, collected themselves nicely and keep the pressure on.
A little bit too close for comfort towards the end there. I believe even if Instinct did go down, it was still going to be in their lead from the blue star, but still, it's cutting it very, very close. And it's not a position where you want to be in the closing few seconds of a bounty game. You spawn quite heavily, and the enemy team closing down on your star lead. Not the best position whatsoever, but from there, we will be going on to Hard Rock Mine, a map that nobody complained about not knowing comps for, because it's been in the game since the beginning of time.
Yeah, it's possibly, I don't know, we have to do a poll on this, but could be like the biggest fan favorite map of all time, actually. At least it is mine. I mean, this map is perfection in my eyes. Many options to play as well, and I do kind of feel like there's some usual suspects that are going to get banned out big time here. I mean, we might be seeing the end of the kind of like 8-bit mid here, and other ideas. I think the Rico lanes days could be over as well, and that's painful for me to say, Trav, honestly. Bell mid, another thing that you could potentially shut down here. Rosa, Max, Pro, I mean, Pam, there's a lot. There's genuinely so many options that you could shut down here. Bar mid, Sprout lane, Stu lane, I mean, take your pick. Surge. I mean, it's a good job that we've got 6 bans potentially at stake here, because I feel like it's possibly one of the most diverse maps when it comes to brawlers that you can probably have in Brawl Stars.
Yeah, no, I do think so too. I think 6 bans really aren't going to affect this map too much. There's a lot of mids to be able to select from, and bear in mind that all 6 bans aren't just going to be on mids as well. You've got to look out to the lanes, and every single position, especially in gem grab, that kind of amplifies the point of you've got to have these specific roles. You've got to have some aggressive, something quite defensive, and you've got to have that gem carrier as well. So they need to distribute their 3 bans across those kind of different avenues, and that leaves open possibly the second best gem carrier or something like that. And you've got to think very strategically about what these picks are going to do and the bans, how it's going to affect your game plan and what brawls you guys want to play.
Yeah, Squeak as well. Found that one out. I mean, again, you can just shut down the entirety of the left-hand side lane. Residue. I mean, I've said it so many times today to keep bringing on about it, but yeah, it's a real threat here. I actually didn't think a bow pick wouldn't be a bad idea here myself. I mean, that can really have a lot of suppressive abilities on the left. I mean, it's been shown already today to work out well, but for a team that didn't actually make it to the semi-final stages, so maybe not. Max, Ruffs, Byron for Free Win Agents, Squeak, Eve, and Surge for Viro Esports. I love the bans. I love them all. And it's another affair of having 6 brawlers bans in play again. But as we said going in, I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think we're still going to see a really solid comp. And dude, I get my pick. I get my way. Regan not being banned, pick first. I think for good reason by Free Win Agents.
Yeah, I think it's the best brawler that hasn't been banned out of the way. We're going to be seeing an 8-bit coming in as the first gem carrier there. Not something that I really expected too much. However, it is an extremely strong pick here. Mr. P going to be played down one of the lanes, and looks like they're going for a very turret spawner heavy composition here, something they might add to with their third and final pick. But we will be flipping over to Free Win Agents here, who need to try and build on this composition they have started to get with the Rico. Possibly a mid brawler needs to be picked up here, and I think possibly something like a Lola could work really well.
Yeah, actually, I would be for that for sure. Sandy coming in, but Free Win Agents lack a mid. Absolutely they do. I mean, I think Pam for me wouldn't be a bad shout to consider here, being the Byron being banned. But 8-bit is a problem. They have to really, Lola, fantastic idea. Yeah, you're right on that one. I'll give you that one, Shrub. I've been right pretty much and bang on today on the draft, but I'll give you. I've got to give you one. Yeah, I've got to give you one, mate. Fair play.
Yeah, back over to the 6th pick though, on the side of Biro here. I'm not really sure what they're going to add to this comp, to be fair. With a lot of these other side lanes out of the mix, you can't really, I wouldn't say I'd be able to predict this with much conviction. And they're taking a while. Oh, Stu. I'm not too sure about how well that's going to do. If the Rico can keep it at a range, it's going to be extremely difficult to play it. And if he does choose to go aggressive on the Sandy, Sweet Dreams is always going to be the answer.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're running Gasser Hill, but we haven't seen that play out so far yet today. It's been zero drag, but that does have some ability to stay in the mix. But I think you have to side with the Sandy. You can't really, I mean, you can dance around a Rico, but you've got to be able to get the dash realistically to be able to, maximize your chances. And there's Rizal going against Coup Ace on the Sandy pick, and now swapping lanes consciously so. That does seem like they don't want the matchup. I feel like at the moment, Barrow are a little bit undecided as to what matchups they do want, actually. And it is going to be Gasser Hill, which I think is the right start power on the Stu side of things. So far, everyone's staying in the mix. Breakthrough there on the right-hand side, and Rizal goes down. He didn't really want the gems in his pocket, realistically, anyway. But look at this. A nice stun, and now Response picking up the pieces. Potentially some gems coming out of this spawn if they can get them out, but we'll get the connection there on the bouncy castle, and we'll waste the gadget for it. So that's to consider as well, as 2 gems apiece. Now 3, 1 back in the right hand side of the spawn as well. Actually 2, so that's gonna be 5 now for Free Win Agents.
Sandstorm picked up as well, and he did get quite a lot of value through the turret onto both the 8-bit and the Stu there, so that's definitely something to watch out for as he comes back up with his Sandstorm. Throws it down in mid, but takes a lot of damage along the way. Needs to try and clean up after Instinct here, but going to see a constant scan of the side from Rizal, and they're actually just not going to go for the gems at all. Nobody's going to play for them. Rizal tries to go for them now and does manage to pick them up, but can he get out? He does get the takedown on 1. Coop's there to pinch, but they just cannot get any connecting shots on him whatsoever. Rizal still up, making good moves. Instinct's going to fall down, and Byro just going to sweep in and pick these ones up and TP out.
I love that from Rizal. Very risky, but I mean, it was calculated. They had the 8-bit, they had the cheat cartridge gadget there to hand, and just had to pass them around. ultimately, again, the Gassy Hill providing so much value on the Stu side of things. But, you know, where is the last place you're going to be going with the gems? Well, yeah, towards your opposition spawn. So everyone's shots are kind of facing in the direction of where you'd expect to go on the retreat. And that's exactly what he played off. There is a really big brain thing to do. And again, against a really tough lane, going up against that Rico side, a conscious decision at that and making it work. You know, Stu here can have a great deal of ability to apply pressure, but it's got to be in the right hands. And I feel like in the hands of Roselle it is. It goes down quickly there, but you can't take anything away from the guy.
Well, I mean, he had a double lane on him. You can't really blame him, can you, really? The ace and both response going down the exact same lane to try and take him down. Need that many brawlers to be able to do it at this point, considering his prior performances. Instinct's going to fall down in the mid. Response picking one up and forcing the cheat cartridge out of the 8-bit, choosing to carry on his aggression. And Coop's getting some very solid shots off as well. Damage gear activated. Instinct with 5 in hand, but we saw something very similar to this in the last game, and it didn't play out in their favor in the late game.
I do feel like this Lola pick has got a lot of legs, and now with the 8-bit out of position, struggling to gain composure. Jay definitely feeling this game, and I think for good reason, in all honesty. A nice sandstorm from Coop to Ace to keep Jay lower yet again, just really eradicating the ability that 8-bit can have. Is arguably the best gem carrier, and that's why Freeman Agents are just keeping him low the entire time. Nice gadget pop as well from Instinct there, shield there, nothing Roselle can do about it. Gem in the pocket there, Freeman Agents, and looking very, very convincing, learning a lot from their previous mistakes, and if they can get Instinct here, a chance still remains, but I feel like this could be going to a match point situation for Freeman Agents. Roselle going to try to do something about it, and actually does manage to get the gems dropped, but Response just going to pick them back up again.
A little bit worrying, considering Response was at like 200 HP at a certain point during that as well. Not sure they've got any gems at the back, so I think this is going to have to be another reset again. And if they do manage to get it this time, they will be able to even things out. They are starting to push in. Response going to throw a super out, but he needs help from Coop here. Can't go down, or they'll be able to reset from mid. Gets the 3-piece and secures the match point, coming in next for Free Win Agents.
Oh, that is a satisfying Rico super. I mean, you know, it takes one to know one. I fully relate. Fully relate. Okay, yes. Well, match point for Free Win Agents. Match point for Free Win Agents, and one game away then from securing themselves in the grand final position, and they've been there in every grand final so far this year. It would be fitting in the monthly final where they did secure a place for the Mid-Season Invitational that they do so yet again. But Viro Esports putting on some fierce competition so far, and they are not out of the woods yet. One win for them would bring this to the 5th and final set.
Not showing that same fight that they had in the first game, though, and Coop absolutely raining fire down on all of these brawlers. Super from Response comes in. Rosale falls low because of it, but no follow-up shots until now, where they do get it. Coop's one shot of the super, I think, as well, if I'm counting correctly, but all control in the hands of Free Win Agents here. Bounce Castle in hand as well. Stun comes in, and there it was. The Sandstorm was one shot away. Puts it down once again. 2 gems on the floor, and if he picks up those, only one more needed for countdown to start, and this is dominance to a T.
Gems are slightly split, with Coop being very low as he is. Got to be cautious, but now attempt spawning in, and Instinct will pick it up as the wise move, and just literally solid. So solid from Free Win Agents, not retreating and feeling the pressure of this as Response comes in and just clears up the mid. That's going to be it. Free Win Agents will go through as to the grand final for today. Response is reminding us that they are former champs with that pin. It just wasn't quite enough from Viro at the end of the day. It was a valiant attempt nonetheless, but Free Win Agents yet again will be in our grand final.
Yeah, I mean, you know, commiserations to Viro there. They played so well throughout a lot of that game, and you can see by a lot of these reflected scorelines that, you know, a couple of 2-1s, a 2-1 in their favor. They played so well, and they're a team that people have got to be worried about in this region. 2 quarterfinals, now moving on to the semifinals and taking a lot of games off Free Win Agents, who are the 2-time champions of this region this year and the MSI attendance of this region. It's a very, very commendable performance, and teams going forward have got to be a lot more scared of them.
Yeah, I fully vouch on the same level as you for that, because I've got to say, if it hadn't been Free Win Agents, I feel like Viro Esports would be in our grand final. I feel like it could be the match. I feel like they are growing in the competition, and that's something that you've got to really point out and focus on, especially when you consider that after the Mid-Season Invitational, then the points are vamped up. So it really does favor a team like themselves that are really starting to gain their momentum, and I feel like they are still a really, really worthy opposition. So looking forward to seeing more from them. But it won't be today, it'll be next month. Let's take a look back at the bracket and see how today has gone so far and how things are shaping to be moving forwards. It was Free Win Agents again with a great start, and they made it through to our grand finals, our first team to do so today after that win. We just witnessed against Viro Esports. Salty Gang went out earlier today to Cases, who are in our semifinals, up against Serenity Esports, who had arguably the biggest upset of the day, knocking out FA Upper Moon. Actually, I don't even think arguably, I think the biggest upset of the day, as FA Upper Moon have only ever been in a grand final up against Free Win Agents. Well, this is not the month that it's going to happen. It's going to either be Cases or Serenity Esports, and we're about to find out next who it's going to be, as they are our next matchup of the day.
Yeah, no matter who wins this, though, they've always got to be a little bit worried about what's to follow. Free Win Agents are always a menacing team and have been in now 3 finals in a row, won 2 of them, and could possibly make it a 3rd this month. These 2 teams, though, they are the underdog teams of the region, really. Kessus Lifelines arguably had probably the easiest route to this semi-final out of all the people who have got there. And Serenity, there's no argument about them having the hardest to get to the semi-finals. And it was a huge upset getting here as well. And I feel like just all favours kind of got to be in Serenity here, just because Kessus are a really good team. They had a solid quarterfinals match, but I'm just not sure if they can stand up to someone who has the momentum coming off the back of a massive win like that.
Yeah, and I'm in agreement, as you know, because we both put down Serenity as our predictions for this one. So if you are at home on event.brawlstars.com, that's something to consider. I think you summed it up perfectly, Trav. I mean, they have had, yeah, the hardest route. I mean, like, you know, who is knocking out teams, you know, in the quarterfinal stages that have been in the grand finals every month? No one except Serenity. So they made it to the semifinals last month, and, you know, again, under similar circumstances, I think they went out from memory to Free Win Agents in the semifinals. Well, this time round, I feel like it could very much be the case they face off against them again, but in the grand final. Having said that, we're not there yet. We haven't even started this process yet, and there's still every opportunity at stake here for a turnaround and a big upset. Cases could be the next Serenity for all we know. So let's see. First map, though, going to be knockout as a game mode, and we haven't really seen, I think we've seen any knockout today yet so far, Trevor. I'm pretty sure it's probably down as being one of our 3rd and final sets of the day, which we never actually saw. So going to be very keen to see as Jaw is on the floor. Garland Gulch is the map, of course. Bands coming in thick and fast for this one.
Yeah, 2 players in the middle as well. I believe Serenity player's taking his hoodie off here. I was actually really enjoying what he was wearing. I thought it was kind of snazzy. But Band's not in yet. Now, as soon as I say that, they do come in. Lola, Eve, Squeak, Surge, Sprout, and Jean. So another 6-band game.
Don't even get me started on your fashion sense, Trevor, or rather lack thereof. I mean, yeah, you snazzy, yeah, no, don't even go there, mate. I've seen what you wear at the weekends, and it's miserable. I do like the bands. I do like the bands. But I still think it leaves the door open. But yeah, I think this is shaping up really nicely. There's definitely going to be a Pam here somewhere, I feel, as there is obviously that Jean ban in play. And there's Byron. I think there's going to be a healer on the side of Serenity here somewhere, realistically. They're not going to do it. Well, they're just going to double down on aggression. Not sure that's the right play yet, but the range will definitely be welcomed as something to outrange the roughs. And the Cases now, I mean, I'm not too sure. Though. Sprout wouldn't be a bad shout. I mean, they can really lock down a lot of what Rika can do with that, in my opinion. And Tick is a problem, though. We've got to consider as well. A throw would be a good counter for it. That's my pick. Whether or not they go for it or not, though, we'll have to wait and see. I've been right most spots. Scoop? I know, dude. I didn't see that one coming. I've got to be honest. But the Sprout was bad. Actually, now I see it, so that does make a lot of sense. But still, I don't know. Is that going to... I guess you can go aggressive on the Tick, for sure. But, yeah, I just didn't see it coming, really.
Yeah, you've got to get your super first if you want to go aggressive, though. I feel like the Tick's just going to be so dominant in this matchup here. I was surprised to see Byron and Ruffs following up after a tick pick. It's just not something you really see every day. And then on top of that as well, something that's really not going to be massively a huge counter against the tick as the third pick as well. I'm really liking Serenity's comp here. Maybe a little bit less on the Bell side, but then again, they're picking it into a Ruffs who's probably using sandbags.
Well, as the hills coming into play. White very low. Oh, the missed hill there as well. Almost costly and might still be so, but White absolutely turning a bad situation into a great one. With fantastic plays like that, I feel like this is very much still alive, regardless as to our predictions. 3 versus 2, and very much comp for it under the circumstances here, really. And a nice pinch there between Just and White. 3 versus 1. That's the round 1. Very good start. Very good start. I'm gonna maybe be eating my words here. Serenity got to pick this one up.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. I mean, we kind of like Stu isn't going to be that good, but then it just completely squad wipes the entire team, and you end up eating your words no matter what, don't you? Really. So need to keep an eye out for this now. White does try to aggress once more. Coup Decay is going to be caught off guard here as he does sneak through once again. Bounce Castle popped, but Lasserar as well from the tick, going to get taken down, and 3v1 now. Lark is surely not going to be able to do it all on his own in a 3v1, and this should be the first game going to Kessis.
I don't know though. I'm biased, but with Bouncy Castle, and I mean, no reason not to use it as the 3 versus 1 that was eventually, you know, if it didn't go his way, going to mean a set regardless. I like to keep the dream alive, to be honest, but yeah, definitely too much to handle there. But I do feel like they just got to shut down this Stu, and they've got the Rico for it and the tick for it. I just feel like they're being overly aggressive for me on the side of Serenity Esports so far. I think they may be underestimating their opposition just a little bit here, and that's the takedown there. You can pinch the Stu, you can eradicate the Stu and just isolate him if you just kind of play it slow. And look at that 9-day difference as now they start to take their opposition a bit more conviction.
Yeah, that's the early takedown you really need. Lark picks up his super as well, and no supers on the side of Kessis Lifeline, so he does have that as a bit of a destructive measure here, as he can just super straight down the side, get a few shots off, does make a couple connections, I believe, kind of off screen, but down this right-hand side, possibly trying to get a few shots off and navigate his way around. But White on his own is really keeping his 2 teammates back and isolating him for a pinch between Farhan and the Ruffs.
Moment Serenity are very bunched together, which I don't like necessarily, but Ticker's making some good progress on the Stu, who's trying to make a little bit of flank on the top left right now. Heals coming now from Baron, but realistically, you want to have that Rico and Bell connection on the Stu, and Tick chipping away, but pressure so far. Stu making a play for it, and it's pretty costly for Cases if they overcommit here. They've got to be very cautious on the left-hand side. White has not got the heals from the Byron, which they were really dependent on before, and now in a position where you can't really connect them either way. Everyone's still alive, and this is the dangerous moment here as the gas starting to approach. This is going to get very hairy, and maybe some rough sandbags would be quite helpful here, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be going down, and that is the entirety of Cases going to go down, tied up in terms of the rounds.
Making it 1-1 now, and that is exactly what they need, you know? They just need to pick off one of the brawlers early on, make it a 3v2, and that's where the Rico and the Tick are really going to be able to pinch down on these different brawlers and get the takedowns they really do need to be able to take these rounds quite heavily in their favor. They're playing 3 on one side again, allowing White to do the flank that he has been doing over and over again, but this time they're probably going to try and account for it and just keep a few shots over there, keep the bell firing over and over again.
Lark is really giving back this Byron, and I feel like the strategy of the Byron was working better in the earlier outset for Cases when they were just focusing on healing the Stu and having it as a supportive role rather than one of aggression. It's not really doing too much for me right now, but at the moment White's trying to make a little bit of a flank on, and is going to find the Tick mines standing still and affirmative in his position there, but down goes the Ruffs. That's making it a 3 versus 2. That's going to apply a lot of pressure. The Tip mines nicely placed, and the pinch between himself and Coup Decay coming in nicely there as Lark continues the aggression. Really feel like Serenity have just upped the gear since they've been able to get the momentum shining through far and just walking into the gas rather than trying to evade it right now. And this is surely going to be another round going the way of Serenity.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way, and it is. We do see Serenity take that first one. Now, only 1 round away from taking this first set. That's how close it has been so far. Lark does have his super as well, so Byron got to be a little bit cautious. Thrown out and missed. Lark gets connected with as well, so needs a little bit of time to heal up, or a bounce castle will do just the job he needs. Probably, yeah, as he knows he's got a little bit of time. Samaj will take over scanning his lane whilst he's just healing up. And now he does pop the bounce castle back in spawn, I believe, so needs to try and keep the Stu from flanking, and that's what the Bell's really been doing the majority of the game, but this time he does get marked up and he's going to have to back off quite a way and re-engage at some point, because late game that mark is going to really do him some damage.
Yeah, I think it's a wise brawler to mark. You know, honestly, it is the most aggressive of the 3, and definitely the one that I would say arguably giving them the toughest time so far. So that is now something for White to consider. More gadgets coming down the rough side of things, but he'll splash as well. Lark's gonna have to be careful of that. Has got still the bounce castle to consider if he wants to use, which he now does. A great time to do so. Everyone pinched in here, tight in this corner here. Trying to get this round, they will get the set, and they do so as well. That's a big one. That's a big one. You look back and see at the beginning how things were faring. It wasn't looking good, but Serenity suffice. They dig deep. They get the first set. Nicely done.
Don't look too happy, Lark. Don't look too happy. But yeah, nonetheless, they do take that first one. Gold on Gulch has been secured. Parallel Plays is up next for them. And Serenity carry on performance in the later game, as they did carrying on into this Parallel Plays. I'm sure they'll be able to take another set with the momentum they have just collected. But early on, they definitely seemed a bit shaky. That first game and couple of rounds in Knockout, they just got absolutely dominated when Kessus Lifelines were really playing as a team. As you mentioned, the Byron healing the Stu was really just the dominant force they needed to just absolutely walk over Serenity here. And I feel like that's something they do need to put into motion again.
Yeah, I think it's like, you know, they almost didn't like communicate that to each other enough to realize mid-game why it was working so well for them. And as soon as they ditched that idea, it just kind of all went downhill. And at no point did they say, like, well, let's go back to doing that, like, instead. And they just kind of then fumbled along the way. But, you know, Hot Zone, very different approach. I mean, let's see how this one fares. So far, for me, at least, like, in terms of the drafts and the picks and bans, everything seems to be pretty much on point. So still, like, a very firm grasp on the meta and ideas that they want to be able to bring into the mix here. And I think Serenity at the beginning maybe just thought that this was going to be a much simpler case and maybe just let the guard down a bit. And then they were like, oh, actually, no, we really still need to keep up our pace, our pressure, and did so and responded accordingly. But very, very close. This semi-finals has been actually across both sides of this bracket now. Going into Parallel Plays, there's a chance for cases to be able to recollect themselves, and the new draft, of course, brings new possibilities. So that has got to all be on point. And you know, Serenity so far looking good, but this is a close affair.
Definitely so. I mean, we've seen some Parallel Plays in a previous game, and it was very one-sided, and I feel like that's just heavily due to the comp that they did have. I'm not sure if they've managed to get that comp because of the 6 bans and they've played it really well because of that, but I feel like the 6 bans did shake it up quite a lot. There were a few brawlers that we have seen in there previously, but it's bringing in some new additions as well, which is really adding to the mix and really throwing a bit of spanner in the mix for you know, for these different teams to really be able to take a dominant game of Hot Zone, which is largely down to team play, skill, and control of the great Hot Zone. So it's unusual that, you know, a lesser team would usually be able to win.
Yeah, I think you've got to take a lot of consideration to the bans here, realistically. I mean, Leon, as much as I always tend to forget about his ability to be a real threat on Parallel Plays, I think you kind of need to ban him at this point. More often than not, I do tend to see the team that do pick and draft that particular brawler causing some real issues. But at the same time, I think there's, again, a lot of options here to consider. I think Gale, I still think Sprout is being underestimated, actually, how effective he can really be on a particular map as well. Bans are coming in fast. I imagine probably Eve would be banned because it still seems to be banned just as like a safety ban almost in this particular region so far, at least. I still feel like Eve is still a strong brawler. I don't think that the nerf has hit her particularly hard compared to others like Fang. So Let's see. I think Squeak would be a worthy ban here as well, and one that is going to be valued as well as on both sides, actually, as well as the Eve on both sides, which means we can have is it 4 brawlers being banned here? The Gale, the Surge, the Squeak, and the Eve. All decent bans. It's actually going to open up the doors to a lot, though. I think Byron mid will be where I would want to go to with my first pick, and it is what Case is going to do. So we see eye to eye, Cases. I like to see it. Let's see what the response is now from Serenity.
Yeah, I think you kind of got to expect something. I was going to say like a stew, but I mean, a spike can work just as well. I guess that reduction in life plant's really not going to be too helpful for him, as I feel like that was a huge reason why he was so strong, just being able to pull that down, tank a lot of damage, heal up along with it as well. But now it's pretty much just going to be instantly one-shot by a lot of the stuff. Bell's going to be joining it as well, which I'm not too sure if I'm fond of, but now comes Ruffs, which if he's using sandbags, Bell can really excel, so you might see the Meteor come down once more.
I'm not too opposed to the Bell idea, but I like the Brawler. I like anything that resembles Piper, really. And you have got to have some kind of mid, but the Leon is a threat for sure. And a really great idea from Case is actually to lock it in, because Ruff is such a great deterrent of it. If they left that pick open and didn't secure it themselves, then Serenity would have... well, I mean, the Ruff's was like good draft timing to have there. For me, and to not leave that door open for Serenity to have it themselves. I think you could be right here, to be honest. I think Stu could actually work as well to break through some of this, and was giving some problems to Tara. Now, that's a problem that you do not see very often in parallel plays at all. It can work. It can really work. I mean, you probably support from beyond and you just kind of ride it all the way forwards and Lark. I love how he went to it, but decided to leave it as if no one saw it. Lark, you're fine, mate. You're absolutely fine. Carry. You do you, mate. You carry on. Focus on your game.
He's spinning his globe, it falls over, and he goes, oh, I'm in a game, I can't fix it. I've got to go quick. Just leave him, pretend like nothing happened. Great. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm not too sure about this Tara pick, but clearly Lark feels differently about it. Got some good aggression to start things off, to be fair, and a good connecting shot from Bell as well onto the Byron, but Lark now in a tough spot to get out of this position. One hits the support from beyond and one hits him. Little injection. Does go through the shot and also heals up by just as well, so now White on his own and in a 2v2 situation. Cube can still do a very good job with this curveball over the right hand side, and just carry on scanning this lane over and over again, because as we know, it's very hard to dodge.
Well, support from beyond taken care of quite nicely, but Lark able to juke nicely. Actually going to heal up a little bit, I feel, off the back of that in itself, and goes down now, but Samaj able to pick up all the scraps, and that's what you really want. That's going to allow valuable time on the zone. And Samaj has got the mark to hand as well, and probably might want to choose to place it on the Byron there, as it is the brawler which has the most survivability, arguably so. Pull from beyond there coming in, and some good time on the zone. At the same time, I've got to say that White doing wondrous work on behalf of Cases in that top right corner. That is going to be said. There's still some capture left available to Serenity on their own zone, so that's something to consider as well.
Yeah, should have around 75% once it is fully captured, but now they do start to close down. QPK, can he hold on to it himself? Farhani is going to miss the shot onto him. White now pushing on as well. Power up provided. And bear in mind, they are only around 10% behind now. Pull comes through. Lark goes aggressive, but can't quite get the takedown. It's healing pet as well, so that doesn't finish it off either. And now Kessus trying to maintain this control as they do take the lead. Now Samaj going to fall low. Going to be taken down, but a trade is in there on the Byron. Can QPK get this Leon off in time? Because Lark's not on the zone either, so he's got to get him off the zone. And they've also got to get some percentage secured in this last minute as well.
Pressure being applied, got to be said. Nice. See there from QPK, and all the heals are big though from Farm in response, keeping him alive. That was actually quite commendable, got to be said. And wow, a turnaround. That is a lifeline and a half for Cases. If there ever was one. Very fitting for their name as well. My word. They're actually going to get the win off the back of that. And that could have genuinely been a win for Serenity in every sense of the word. That was a dominant turnaround. Very nicely done.
Unfortunate Tara pull. I will say, unfortunate Tara pull. It really didn't go to plan there for Lark. He was open for the double, hit one, and then didn't hit the person who was actually nearest to him, so he got kind of auto-aimed down before he could really do too much damage or get much control whatsoever. So I mean, the Tara doesn't seem to be doing terrible. It got a really good amount of percentage off the start and gave them a very good lead, but Coup Decay with this, you know, decreased life plant really just isn't doing as much against a Leon as he'd hoped.
Yeah, maybe Lark's been watching too much EMEA and trying to take some tips from Tom. He needs to maybe look further afield there. He wants to land those balls, but regardless. Good pressure being applied. I do like the Tara pick here, though. I think it's an interesting one that I didn't see coming, that I think many didn't see coming. That can work, but at the same time, it just feels like Cases have got a firm grasp on it so far. And that's suffering on the side of Serenity. But you know, this could be a definite set going the way of Cases here. They just seem to really have the confidence which they were looking for. They understand and know and seem to be withstanding a lot of this scrutiny really nicely. Another support from Beyond. That's 2 now used by Lark, and you would like to realistically have kept them because it's a great thing to have to really force yourself onto the zone on the left-hand side. But he is struggling so far, and much to the delight of Cases, it's got to be said.
Yeah, Lark really just can't do a lot against this Byron at all. Good taps from Samaj though. I just falls low, and Lark now starting to push on, gets the takedown, and I just falls as well. Now they start to push onto this zone, and they've still got some defensive side to capture as well. Leon's going to fall too. An explosive play from Lark, taking his enemies by surprise, does get him some very well-deserved percentage. Now he's just going to be trying to work for the super, which he does get as well. So even if he does go down now, he's going to be chilling as soon as he comes back up and have a near enough guaranteed pull if he does hit it.
I think there's the wise choice to go very defensive, very far back, just heal up accordingly. Could have gone for a actual pull there on farm and just secure the kill, in my opinion, but obviously wants to reserve it and try to double down and try to get eye justice the target that he wants here. And meanwhile, White is on the zone here and gonna put the Invisa heal there, I think, as well. Lark getting a lot of value off the back of that healing shade, gotta be said, and stay alive. Precious time on the zone, 80% now to 59 of Cases in favor of Serenity. But similar to what we saw in the last game, you know, Cases, they are capable of turning things around in the last minute and recollecting themselves right when it matters, and they are doing so now. But it's the time on their side. It's going to be tight no matter what way you look at it.
Yeah, 21% left, and bear in mind there's 25 seconds on the clock, so near enough done right now as they can't get this percentage back. It is going to be basically cleaned up now by Serenity, and they're going to be evening things out. I will say, though, I think Lark has a 0% pull rate on this Tara, so, as I say, maybe taking a few too many tips from a specific Englishman. But nonetheless, it seems to be working. They've managed to get this game, and they're 1 game away from taking 2 sets now.
Yeah, genuinely, you know, I'm not opposed to using a Tara pull just to confirm a kill. If you know that, maybe you couldn't necessarily see, I think the Byron was in the bush, but, you know, when a brawler is very low HP, sometimes it is just worth making that trade in your favor and just like having just that 1v1 to worry about rather than anything that can especially heal the situation up. So it would be nice to maybe see that and just kind of go for a bit of a pull in the dark, but maybe the information wasn't there in fairness. But great start. Okay, it's very, very aggressive. All sides now. Turn things back a little bit into the tide of Serenity as the trades are there in their favor, and K now with the super as well. Land it down and tries to just push White into a corner, which he does so nicely. The pinch between Samaj as well. Lark on the zone. Things are looking good. Great start from Serenity here.
Yeah, this is really what they needed, especially after that first game of Hot Zone that really didn't go to plan. It seemed so well off the start and then just completely failed towards the end. This is the exact start they needed to this game after really bringing it back in the last one. White going to fall too, and Lark still alive. No heals onto him. The splash misses, and he's still on the zone. Still alive. I just falls down to 1 shot and is marked up as well. Taken down. And look how much percentage they've managed to get on that offensive side. They've barely even got any of their home one. So now they're probably just going to go back, secure that, play slow, but play calculated at the same time, and they'll aggress when they need to.
Yeah, or just go in aggressive, just double down and just get the zone all tied up, and that's going to really cause a problem they can afford to at the moment. I mean, Cases haven't secured their own yet. They can't really go on too much of the aggressive. White, though, is going to continue on that right lane as he's been doing all game, and that is a concern for sure for Serenity. They've got to keep their eye on it, but ultimately they want this bottom left zone. Just going to tickle down here as well, and a great pull. That's one. That's one. Lark has got one in the bag, Trav. He must be happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud, so I'm sure he's happy. I'm so proud of him. But it looks like they're going to close this one out. Serenity back on their home zone and basically already guaranteed this offensive one, which they just do now. White's going to be popping Invisa heal. Farhan trying to push up as well. So Life Plant doing as well as it can in the current situation. But 5% left and it's all home zone. So in reality, it should be finished. But looking at the control they've got, maybe not. Lark slots on though, and this is going to be done. Serenity to take the second set.
It seems like a very mirror matchup in regards to the lower and upper brackets today. You know, we're seeing close games, close sets every step of the way. But Serenity just as similar as we saw with 3-win agents seem to have the edge a little bit. They might falter here and there, but they're able to communicate accordingly to recollect. And it's nice to see that Lark's now finally addressed that globe as it's still back to its standing position. He clearly found the time between the games to rest.
Yeah, he was getting told off for destroying his globe. It's a family heirloom and he's just completely destroyed it for the sake of a stream. Pinhole Punt up next though. Got some Brawl Ball coming up, and I do love this map. We see a lot of Pam, a lot of Crow. I'd imagine probably quite a lot of even Surge is going to be absolutely insane here now, so just get that out of the way straight away. I don't even want to see it. Squeak as well. Anything with a bit of range and a bit of burst damage can really go a long way.
I do want to see the Surge. I'm going to disagree. I do want to see it. I feel like we're not going to see it because it's just constantly banned. I think we've seen Eve once today, right? There's just, I feel like we've maybe hit Fang too hard. I wanted to see some Fang pop-offs, and I feel like it's not even being banned or picked now. Like, I think they might need to give Fang a little bit of love back. It's definitely a tough one to balance though, because again, that explosive potential, it's a really tough thing to find the mid balance for. But definitely there's some new front runners in town for sure. Squeak, I don't think we've seen Squeak once today. I think that actually may have started to overtake Eve now in terms of the ban rates. But I mean, the stats off the back of this month's gonna be fantastic to see. Like, the ban rates are going to be very interesting now with the free ban rule in play. Between 3 and potentially even 6 brawlers can be banned now in our new format. So very exciting stuff, and great to see it working so well off the first stream of this month's monthly finals. Really great to see. Pinhole Punt up next. Brawl Ball, of course. I mean, the way Serenity are going, they might be looking to tie this one up quickly. I feel like they have got some good momentum cases, though. Can't rule them out. Their drafts are on point. Their choices are good. It's just they're not able to really keep that pressure on long enough to secure a set. So will it be Pinhole Punt? Will it be Brawl that brings them back into the game here? Or are they going to be going home in the semi-finals? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's a possibility of them dropping out right now. Serenity, I will say, do seem to be deserving of the final spot in the finals. So definitely after the run they've had, and 2 very, very close sets you see here. 2-1 and 2-1. I mean, you can never count out a reverse sweep, and it's something I would love to see. Kessis Lifelines playing so well, but as you say, they just can't hold on to that last thread of hope and finish off these sets. And you've got to kind of expect a similar story in this Pinhole Punt match, because they really just don't seem to be on top of closing out these games. And look how incredible that was. I haven't even seen this new environment on Brawl Ball. The goals look incredible. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun. I've heard mixed opinions though on the what the terminology is even for them now, like little buffers that you've got now that can ping the ball, but not on this particular map. So I think it'll come to a lot of the pleasure of the pro scene. But yeah, Sun Show in full swing, and yeah, it's a very I guess one of those things that we tend to take for granted actually when it comes to an update. But I've met the team responsible for the environments of Brawl, and like they do amazing work. I mean, I think actually like it's great that we get to demonstrate and really showcase the work that they do, because it is a lot of love that goes into the maps that when we see it from other perspective, it just kind of looks like a different skin, but there is so much creativity involved. Let's see, bans coming in: Gale, Surge, and Eve. Okay, is this 8-bit? It's a bit of a weird ban, didn't expect that. And Byron and Ruffs. So 6 bans in play. 8-bit. I don't know, Trev. What are your thoughts on that?
I have no comments for an 8-bit ban. I have absolutely no comments for an 8-bit ban. It's the most random thing ever. I mean, could you not? I suppose they could have just not banned Crow just so they could pick him. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just a last-second thing. I don't think it's incredibly good here, and I've never really seen 8-bit on a Brawl Ball map as fast-paced as this. But these are kind of more the picks a bit my speed. We've got Crow on Serenity, which is probably the best pick left on this map. This is a fast draft. Squeak! Spike and Tara, Sandy, and Squeak, and then Stu. These are some very, very good drafts, but I feel like Kessa's maybe lacking a mid.
I kind of wonder whether maybe they were trying to ban Stu, actually. No, I'm just trying to think about brawls that maybe around the near vicinity of 8-bit, or whether it was just a panic ban, or whether there was some method behind the madness. Not too sure, but we get to see Squeak for the first time today, and that excites me massively. Already, the residue going out from Coop K, and that's a big deterrent of White and what he's able to do on this left-hand side lane, and keep an eye on that one. I think that's going to be a big tell here as to how this is going to fare for Serenity, but so far, so good. I mean, that's a quick and swift early goal for them. Great start in 25 seconds.
Yeah, great play for them. Good stun and good finish off from Lark. Been playing so well today. White gets stunned as well, but Gasser Heel's going to keep him in it. Gets the takedown as well. Samaj with a shot onto him, but White's going to continue his dominance. Super from Cooper K, but only going to make a connection on iJust, and I think that's still going to be a goal. No, Lark manages to grab it off the line, stop the goal, and maintain the lead in their favor.
You think there, you got super shot. I mean, you're playing Stu. It takes one shot to own your super back. You haven't really got to worry about the fact that you might be using some utility there. I think you've got to go for a pocket shot quick and fast and not think about the respawn there. Not to say it's a miss from White there, but I would just kind of prefer to be safer than sorry, and if the super shot, less chance to really have the reaction time to defend it. Let's see though, Justice got it, and he didn't go for it. He's gone to the super, which can work here. I would have preferred to shoot that. This could still be fumbled potentially here. Let's see. Should be walked in, but definitely a few mistakes starting to show through for Cases here.
Yeah, not enough burst on the Squeak there. You kind of do need control near enough throughout with the Squeak to be able to really make the biggest use of him. Support from beyond not making any moves because of the sandstorm, couldn't see anybody. White gets connected with that Squeak shot, and iJust does have his super, but it'll be difficult to make a connection. I say that, and then they just line up perfectly for a triple, but doesn't use it as they are in the grass. Now, a bit of stalemate in mid, but we've seen 3 supers from Kessus and 0 from Serenity, so a big push is just waiting to happen now.
Yeah, that's slow there. It's just so devastating, honestly, and iJust really struggling for it. That is going to be another goal then, and that is going to put Serenity onto match point. Lark looking pretty composed under the circumstances, but I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't be. I mean, that was a great performance. I mean, very convincing, and Cases now just looks to be crumbling under the pressure. I mean, that's what happens, I guess, if you get the Squeak, you know?
I mean, all I'm saying is that it just kind of looks to me like these goals just come out of absolutely nowhere. I'm commentating on something totally the other side of the map, and it's just like, oh, it's a goal. Well, it must be some kind of gap in Kessus Lifeline's game, to be honest with you, because these openings should not be available at this level of play. Breakthrough from White, great play from him, making moves. Gasser Heel keeps him in it for a bit longer than what it should have done. But Farhan getting hit by Cube Decay now, has got his super as well. So can throw this forward, gets connected by another shot as well, but Curveball keeping Cube Decay low and keeping him in a distance. Lark still got some sweet dreams to hand. And support from the beyond, taken down quite quickly. Samaj not going to go for the jump on iJust, and playing with this team, playing for control because it's been working for them so far. Why change now?
Exactly. I mean, it's tried and tested at this point, and I wish I could say the same for the defense of Cases right now. It's a 3 versus 2, and Samaj has got another super to hand. Let's get taken down though, but the Sweet Dream started, leaves a little bit of an opening, and oh, the thread of the needle from Lark, absolutely on point. Serenity at this point in time are just looking so fierce, and the mistakes that we saw in the potential goal scoring opportunities on the side of Cases are not being seen on the side of Serenity, who are just embracing those moments and making them count.
Jump available too, so he can quite easily avoid this Tara super, but he's going to go for the other ones. Hit on Lark, gets the takedown, but gets connected by part of that Squeak super. Now 50 seconds stand between them and the finals. Just need to hold on to this 1-0 lead. Farhan's going to get hit by that, almost drags it onto White as well. Still Crow jump available, but a little bit of aggression from White's going to push them back just that tiny bit, open up a bit of a gap, and he's going to need to make use of this gap, or it could be over very, very soon.
White is maybe a saving grace here. He's been playing great on the Stu, but just he hasn't got support here to do anything about it, and quickly taken care of by Lark, and rightly so under the circumstances. Farm at the moment, just trying to utilize a little bit of that slow and area denial, but what avail? Oh no! Oh, it's all the walls are coming crumbling down, and that is it. Serenity Esports are going to make it to the grand final. And a little bit of a clean. Come on, Lord, give us a smile. Give us a smile. Thumbs up. There you go. Finally, we get to see some emotion. But, I mean, it's credit to them. They've been so composed. Serenity last month made it to the semi-finals, but went out. Not this time around. They are in today's grand final. Will face up against free win agents. And, oh, not to say, though, that Case didn't give them a run for their money. They absolutely did. I mean, at the very beginning, we were almost eating our words in knockout. But Serenity just upped the gear. They just started to make things work better, and it just started to get progressively more so in their favor as time went on. I mean, you got to hand it to them. I think very deservedly so. And again, another instance of a team that have been growing with the competition. I mean, they came in with an explosive start last month, but keeping up the pace, keeping up the pressure, and what a day it is for them. I mean, this day may not be over in terms of upsets. It's not the grand final that we've been used to. FA Upper Moon went out in the quarterfinals to this team. So, I mean, this is now very much all to play for. I mean, Serenity here a great chance of, I mean, putting a little bit of a slant on the MSI achievement that has been, you know, for free win agents today.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, overall, it's definitely all to play for. Serenity just played so well. And yes, free win agents did play very, very well in their semi-finals, but they've still showed a few little hiccups throughout. They lost a set. They, you know, looked a bit shaky, overconfident in the quarterfinals. And, you know, if Serenity bring the level they've been playing with all day, and free win agents just looking as shaky as they were before, I know I said it with Viro as well, but I feel like Serenity are just that level above Viro, and a team that could upset once again and take down the two teams who have been to the finals every other month except from this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an eventful journey to get to this point. If you are just joining, let's recap as to where the day has gone. Trav, talk us through the day and what viewers may have missed if they're just joining the stream right now.
Well, the first game we did kick things off was Free Win Agents versus Southern Cross, who did win 2-0 in the favor of Free Win Agents. Then faced Viro Esports, who had previously beaten Business Proposal. Salty Gang versus Kessus Lifelines was the third match. Kessus Lifelines were victorious 2-0, but then they've just been defeated 3-0 by Serenity in a very close but very dominant looking scoreline. FA Upper Moon were taken out by Serenity, who now made it all the way to the finals and want to carry on their upset streak today.
It's going to be a banger, that's for sure. I mean, predictions-wise, it's a tough one. I put down free win agents simply because this is a bit of a grudge match. It's a bit of a repeat from last month. That was in the semi-finals, though, to be fair. It was 3-1 in favor of free win agents last month. That's how the historic events have transpired, let's say. But again, I put down free win agents, but I'm also very much in the mindset that this could be an upset right here. I mean, just from how free win agents have been playing today a little bit, last month they looked a lot more secure in that sense. This month, it's a little bit up in the air. Trav, what's your prediction for this one? Because I'm curious to see whether we differ on this one.
We don't differ. I think free win agents will win it, but the exact same as you, Serenity always going to have a slight foot in the door. They've got a chance. They've definitely got a chance of winning this one. They've just been playing so well today, and after the upset in the quarterfinals, you can't count them out of any game in this SESA region, because once you've defeated what looks to be the second best team in the region throughout the rest of this year so far, they took them out quite simply, and they could do the exact same here if they play it very well, but my money's on free win agents still.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3-2 scoreline potentially here, I feel. You know, one thing I'll say is that, you know, taking into my prediction into account was like last month when I interviewed Coop, he said that like they were just basically drafting on the fly, like, you know, trying new things out against this very team and really starting to be as unpredictable as possible. I think I remember in one of the Brawl games, it was like Sandy and Primo in a very weird, unusual kind of like play style. But it worked. So I think you got to take that into account as well. Free win agents have got experience. Serenity Esports have never been in a grand final before. This is their first. So there's definitely going to be a bit more pressure on this one. And there was pressure for them last month, but again, growth in the competition is great to see. I think they've got a great fan base following now. I think that a lot of people watching really rooting for them right now as well. So that can't be underestimated too. I mean, it does help sometimes. I know a lot of players do read the chat. I kind of tell them not to, but they like to see the support, and I think rightly so. So if they are reading the chats and stuff, then I think that might sort of feed into their, not ego, but confidence, let's say. Freedom Agents, though, you can't really count them out of this one, as they've got to be the favorites. I mean, they've won March, they've won April, but there's a definite question mark around this month, and remains to be seen. But it is the matchup next, and that's the last match of the day, but what a way to end it.
Yeah, I believe I have just heard, if I've heard it correctly, we're going to be seeing Coop the bench. So that might throw a bit of a spanner in the mix as well. Possibly seeing Coop on the bench there. All three of his teammates going to be playing this one. So, I mean, in my eyes, that maybe makes it so Serenity, have even more of a chance as, kind of the big IGL figure that Coop is.
It is Coop the bench, yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because they've been rotating their bench today. We saw in that first matchup, Response was benched. And then I think it was Instinct, or maybe it was Sergeant. It was Sergeant in the semifinals. So interesting. They are really rotating this one through. And yeah, I mean, if he is benched, I guarantee he's still going to get a word. And if it comes to a player interview at the end, and he'll take all the credit and give it all that. But interesting stuff. I mean, that is and could make a big outcome effect here. Remains to be seen. One thing goes to Serenity Esports is that they know draft, they know comps, they know what works, and they're able to also adapt on the fly when it comes to pressure. But Freewin Agents, again, that's a lot of experience in their core, and Response as well. Being so aggressive in the way that he is. That's something that Serenities will sometimes struggle with. We saw previously with the Stu pick, for example, on the side of cases there, gave them a problem in a lot of the game modes. So I worry about Response and how he's going to be approaching this one, because I feel like he's going to let loose in the way that he wants to over Serenity.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot more space in between the first and second seed. Obviously, they have already qualified for MSI, so that's going to be in the back of their minds right now. That's out of the way. But looking forward into the year, they're starting to, make a bigger and bigger gap between the first and second seed as they did get knocked out in those quarterfinal matches, which is surprising to see them not play with Coop, who has been, kind of like the real leader of this team and a person who's consistently playing very, very well. It's quite surprising to see them changing things up and not just wanting to lengthen that lead even more, especially because the second half of this year, you're going to have double points, and that is a lot of capability of closing this gap down.
I agree. It's a risk. It's a big risk to run. Absolutely. I'm not sure how this one's going to go, to be completely honest, but I quite like that as well. I think it's going to be a great thing to see whether Freewin Agents are going to be able to tie this one up in the way that they would hope to and have done in previous months. I think the thing as well to remember here is that if Freewin Agents came in today with the sole kind of intention of just locking down MSI, they're kind of all in high spirits, and as they seem to be in those early sets, then you got to ask yourselves the question, are they focused enough to be able to secure the grand final win today? Or are they still riding that high and just kind of maybe off their focus? For me personally, they looked a lot better in the semifinals than they did actually in the quarterfinals when they did qualify for their MSI. But at the same time, I haven't forgotten that quarterfinals performance here. Coop Day's being benched as well. That's a question mark. It's a big question mark. Serenity, though, they've got to try to get past, in their mind, the fact that A, this is their first grand final, and B, it's against Freewin Agents. That's a big one. You can't deny it. And not always the easiest of things to shake. They've got to really focus and just kind of be in the moment now, in the present, and just not think about who they're up against and where they are in the competition. The globe, Lark, the globe. Yes. Protect the globe. Maybe he's trying to find where the MSI is going to be. Is he
Wouldn't we all like to know, Lark? Wouldn't we all like to know? I think he's playing in Australia, though. I think that's what he's doing. He's repping his home country, I'd imagine. But the bans are in. We don't care about the globe anymore. The bans are in. Crow, Byron, Gale. by Free Win Agents, and then we've got Squeak, Sandy, and Eve. So is this another 6-ban game? Ems and then Lola going to be the first 2 picks from separate teams.
I would love to hear from production later on today as to how many 6 brawler games being banned that we've had today compared to 5, 4, and 3. I feel like there's got to be a big sway towards there being 6 bans more often than not, and I'm all for that. Again, I was on the fence a little bit because it's a big format change, but I haven't seen really a single instance of there being 6 brawlers being banned and there being a kind of weird and wacky draft, which is good for me. It's actually allowed Rose to sneak through for Free Win Agents, which is often one that you don't tend to see here. Tara and Ems, this is a big comp here coming in from Free Win Agents. Lola's great, but I feel like with speed gear a thing and nothing to break up this bush so far from Serenity, this is going to be tough, really tough. I like that. We haven't seen Griff all day. One that's snuck under the radar, but one that's felt so good in the most recent balance changes, and one that will break that bush as well up. And I like it, Trav. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, Curse did say to me yesterday, he was like, Griff can slip in here and there, and it's a very underrated pick. So, I mean, clearly it's a decent brawl at the moment after, the balances. It seems extremely decent. And, as you said, they haven't got something to break up the bush. So they bring something to break up the bush. It's exactly what they needed, really. They have that range, the damage, the super that's going to be incredible in overtime. But, I mean, he's instantly snuck up on, but should be traded out here.
I think this is a great secret weapon, honestly. And again, just goes to show how well Serenity Esports draft these situations, because now, there's so much space to maneuver. Free Win Agents are applying the pressure. That's the thing now. And that's going to put Lark in a bit of a difficult spot, because he can't really break his own cover here. He's in a bit of a pickle. In all honesty, it's probably going to lead to a goal here. Sergeant going in a super aggressive response. Yeah, not wasting any time for the goal. But in the beginning outset, Serenity had a great upper hand here, and they can still turn this one around. There's plenty of time on the clock. That was an early goal for Free Win Agents there, really, and that's what they want. They want to tie this one up quick.
The instinct going to avoid a few shots there. Just going to pass it over to Sergeant, who does get caught out by a double takedown by the Griff super, and that's just how powerful that super is. Response coming out the spawn. Will have his knockback there, so they can't aggress just yet, but middle wall going to be taken down by the piggy bank. Instinct does pick up his super, which is going to be absolutely huge for defending this goal, but it seems like Sergeant did enough damage and takedowns to deflate this push even before him using it.
It's the golden pick. One I would never have seen coming, but you can just see now, the space being created. Lark can actually go to break the left here. I suggest that he does before, he gets shut down for it, because that would create even more space. And at the moment, Free Win Agents are really dependent on those final box lines there. The super as well on the Tara side for Instinct holding onto for dear life, because, they need these lifelines. They got the time on their side, and even there, going to the left, has super and spike super, but showing and reminding Serenity that super's waiting, and Lark is gonna go down for it, and I think rightly so. Now the aggression can take a spawn for Free Win Agents, leave the ball behind, doesn't really matter. Just focus on these takedowns, and this game is theirs.
Yeah, it seems like they're doing a solid job of getting these takedowns when they need them. 20 seconds on the clock, and I don't think there's really enough time for Serenity to get out of this locked position that they've managed to establish and get up the map to get the goal in. So this is going to be the first game going to Free Win Agents, unless something drastically changes like this instant, which it doesn't, sadly, and Sergeant is going to get a couple of takedowns in there as well. Free Win Agents secure the first game, and it was just that explosive start and great control off the start that they did have that really provided them with the win this game.
Well, I feel like for me, Serenity can win this. They've definitely got a good counter comp, but they've got to play this earlier outset slower. They've really got to focus on their territorial control. Then they can start to break things up more. And then, honestly, Free Win Agents, if they find themselves in a position they can't get out of, they're going to be completely at the mercy of this comp. But again, Lark going down there, making it 3 versus 2, and now this push starting to come in. It's going to look like the similar story if they're not careful here. And this is not where Serenity wanted to be so early on. Quite the opposite. In fact, 3 versus 1 now, surely never goal. I feel like that was not the way to approach this one. And Serenity didn't seem to learn from that previous game.
Yeah, it's that aggression once again. And even with the change sides and the wall break and the grass being broken, they're just not able to do too much. You see Griff rotating over onto Sergeant now, who explodes onto him with a super, does get the takedown there as well. Pass forward in the slow from the Gadget is there as well, but not going to push this one for a goal. Instinct going to break the wall. Can he get it in time? The timing's off, and I think it missed anyway. Locke's going to super the ball backwards into no man's land. Response gets his super again, but it's going to be complete trades all round, and now a 1v1 in this goal portion of the map, but no goal coming from it.
Yeah, very scrappy. I feel like Fruin Agents should really have tied that up there, but at the same time, I feel like they probably still will. Their aggression, I mean, look at this from Sergeant. Greatly done there. He can super off the back of the wall there if he wants and just secure this, but a walk in either way is fine. I mean, now rather than later, though. There it is. And that's why you don't do it, guys. But they have got the lead. I don't see it changing. But at the moment, they're just clearly not in any hurry to wrap up the day.
They just don't care. They just don't care, do they? They're messing about in the first one. They're messing about in the finals. But I mean, it's okay because they managed to secure it anyway, and the same with the one in the quarters. If you're messing about, at least guarantee yourself that you're going to win it, which is exactly what they did. Very convincing first set, I will say, and a lot more in their favor than I thought it would be, especially when I saw Rosa being played into the Griff breaks and the Lola and also the Spike as well. I was expecting maybe a decent amount of dominance in the early game from Rosa, but then later on into the game when the walls and grass is broken up, that Serenity would excel, but it just didn't seem that way, and Rosa just kept its dominance throughout.
I was rooting for Serenity. I thought that Griff pick was genius, actually, and really should have done better, I feel. Like, it just needed a slower approach, but again, whether that's a mistake from them or just a testament towards Fruin Agents and their ability to really understand, like, when they've got a bit of a position where they're outcome, they've got to capitalize on the time that they've got. That time is really valuable. If they allow the setup to take its form for Serenity, then they're going to be able to be at a much higher disadvantage. They don't want that, and they were able to do exactly everything right. It was really down to Lark to sort of like open up the map as quickly as possible, but they needed to have that control established whilst doing so. They gave it up too soon, and that's what led to the downfall of it, because ultimately, yeah, they opened up the map. There was nowhere that free agents could go there. Like, there's literally nowhere. So either way, Brawl's done. Knockout, Blaring Phoenix up next, and a new draft to have. But, I mean, Fruin Agents tools in that game, I mean, a bit trolly, a bit memey, but they are the things that can really get inside your head. For a team that has never been in a grand final, that, are already feeling the pressure of the situation, and then kind of, to have that first set be I don't want to say the word walkover, but very dominant, very much within Fruin Agents' favor. That's going to be left behind, and sometimes newer teams to grand finals find it hard to let go. Serenity have got to let go now. They need to start to recollect and start to fight back against Fruin Agents here.
Yeah, this is the map they're going to be doing on ours. I feel like it's going to be a complete... No, I know you said you don't want to say walkover, but I feel if they lose this one, it's going to be a walkover and finished out in the third. After you said, it really does disrupt people's, mental state when people are, messing about against you in such a serious game like a final of a monthly final, and you're getting trick shotted on and he's waiting for you to come and save it and then just taking you and team wiping you again. It really does take a bit of a toll. But, I mean, they really need to bounce back right now, or I don't think they're going to bounce back at all.
Yeah, it could well be the case. Bans are in. Gale, Squeak, Eve, the Fruin Agents, Byron, Sprout, Surge for Serenity. Another 6 brawler ban scenario. I need to get these stats. I need to know how many games we've had today with 6, 5, 4, and 3 bans, because that is... It's almost like there's like a gentleman's agreement going on that everyone's just agreeing to ban certain things, because that's honestly very much, I think, the opposite of what everyone was expecting with this new format in play with the 3-ban rule. Regardless, Piper, Pam, for Fruin Agents on this map, I do like a lot. Tick, Bo, Tara, Serenity. It was a quick draft, Trav, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, Bo Tara. Just give me some Snake Prairie vibes coming in there. Going to be playing with the super in the late game, obviously, just sitting at the back of the map, which is why they pick Max. They're just going to aggress them and ensure that they can't get these supers and dominate them in the late game. Just playing very aggressive, and that's the perfect pick for Fruin Agents to take there, really. Because Tick's not going to be able to keep them off whilst they're getting the supers. So they're going to play aggressive. They're going to get some damage done. So that might just shake up Serenity's plan, and they might have to just play normally with Botara, and that's probably not what they're going to be wanting to do.
I gotta be honest, I don't like this for Serenity. I don't. I mean, there's one super totem down already as a
Two
attempt to defend from Sergeant. I mean, you know, this is not a team that you want to be going in with the Tara Bow approach with, because they're going to force it, especially with max speed. Like, they're going to be going in straight for the totem and trying to get it taken down early on. As the bow goes down now as well, leaving just Lark and teammate alive. And yeah, this is, yeah, the crying pins are out, and I feel for Lark. I feel like this might not be the draft that's going to win this one already. Freeman Agents are just playing with their food at this point, and that's a good start for them. Very good start for them.
Yeah, I love the way he just dropped a turret at the back of the map to start with for Tara, gets hit by Piper, gadgeted, and then places another one to just completely waste 2 totems straight off the bat. So, not the best start for them, but this game is seeming a little bit better. Tara does have a super as well, so need to be a little bit careful about that. But if he's got phase shift left, and if Sergeant can pick up a jump, they're going to be able to avoid it quite easily. Seems to me, though, like they might just try and take this Tara super, you just eat it, and then come back in the next round where they don't have any totems and no chance of really getting it back. But, I mean, he doesn't even need to eat it. He can just jump away because he managed to pick it up just in time.
I think Lark had it before Sergeant was able to earn his, and like it seemed like a very slow thumb there on the pull. It was a one-tap thing to do. I'd have to look back to see it in closer detail, but Sergeant either way under heavy scrutiny and is going to struggle to get out of this one. If he gets one hit, maybe he's got a super to hand. I think he was possibly close. We'll have to see on the next round whether he was one shot away, but it was doable. It was doable. Not the easiest of situations by any means, but Serenity are able to get around it. Oh, Sergeant, though, back with that pop. Homemade recipe is a great way to start this one off for Freeman Agents.
Yeah, can't forget there's no bow totems left either, so no Tara super in sight. Looking like Lark's going to be taken down here. Instinct gets the pickup. Response starts to aggress as well. Shots on and Samaj goes down. Freeman Agents take the first game of the set, and although the second one looked very good for Serenity, the third one, complete flip of it again, and they lose it very, very comfortably. Well, Freeman Agents win it comfortably. I'm not sure if you can lose comfortably, to be fair.
Bit of a nervous smile there, I think it's fair to say, from Lark, as maybe starting to feel like this draft was not quite the one. Super totem down again, but you know, response is, you know, the speed gear as well on this map, you know, it's such an easy way to maneuver up quickly to really get rid of that super totem. And nice pop there from Sergeant, great pickup. He needed to land that mark onto the Tara there to really keep this pressure on, force away the super, but now forced to go for the tick. There's no angle on the bow. He's left all alone. He could evade these mines, but look at the way he's doing it. Oh my word, Sergeant, wondrous work, Sergeant. I know it's a small detail, but my word, the ability to heal off the back of that, let alone avoid the shots. My word, if he able to, he can't turn this around, surely, nah, yeah, but amazing work from him regardless.
Yeah, I don't think there's much chance of a comeback there, but regardless, that was amazing from Sergeant and just showing what he's capable of. Pull from Lark is going to be missed again. A response, phase shifts to the left, avoids it, and makes Lark start from square one once again. Line's going to go down. Sergeant does have to jump out of the way of that one just because he may be overextended onto it a little bit, all scared of the tick shots. Lark starting to aggress now. Another support from beyond pop, but Instinct places his turret down. Not in the best position, and I'm not sure you can place it in a good position against the tick, to be fair, but it was able to be shot by the rest of the team as well, so it was taken down quite quickly.
Plus speed was perfect from response to allow Sergeant to evade that mine that was going to pop right on his face there. Tick head coming in and should be taken care of. Instinct will see to that. But Lark goes down there as response finds a nice angle, a nice pinch between himself and Sergeant, and now Coup Decay surely the next to go down as well. It's now going to be just a measly tick on a 1 versus 3. I don't see how Samaj is going to do anything about this, and he's just got faith in the smoke. He's not even going to try, and to be honest, I can't really blame him. I mean, you know, what can you really do in those situations other than just try to not feed?
Yeah, speed's going to be popped, and he's going to be running to the right side, trying to get some pressure straight away, stop this turret from getting too much value. Tara already got what she needs off it, though, and now just trying to be scouted out by Instinct. pull available, but he doesn't want to waste it again. He's seen what happens when he tries to just throw it out randomly in response. Phase shifter comes in and he misses. They're playing it quite slowly. Need some walls to be caught on because, I mean, I'm not gonna, you know, say that he hasn't been doing very well in Tara, but he hasn't been doing very well in Tara. So they need some walls to be able to be caught on because you kind of expect it to miss at this point.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, it's a tough role to make work, and I think Lark maybe bit of a bit more than he can chew because we've seen like free-win agents. You know, you really got to land it. I mean, if you give them any inch, then they're going to take a mile, and that's really not the way you want to be handled to handle the situation there. So actually, response goes down the right-hand side. This could be a great opportunity. A nice aggressive turret there from Instinct with the moment's hug, gonna force everyone away, and a nice scrap sucker as well. The suck does connect, and that's a very important takedown. Healing Shade as well for good measure if they need, which they don't. That's actually going to bring back a game here, a set then as well, not a set, rather just a game then for Serenity. But I feel like that should have gone another way if I'm completely honest. Free-win agents looked like they had it in the bag, looked very confident in their approach. Wasn't quite the case.
No, they definitely need these early rounds to be secured nice and early on because it does get even more worrying the longer the game takes. And if Sergeant can't get the walls open and take advantage of them being open, then it's going to be really, really difficult for them to win. Response avoiding shots like nobody's business here. Does manage to stay up, but now Sergeant puts himself in a susceptible spot. And overall, that just puts the team in a bad spot.
Instinct had to really just make sure that he had that angle covered there, just to try to deflate some of it, because Lark coming in with Super and with Sergeant and Lark and Sergeant and Response rather so low. Oh, the face shift there was perfectly timed, but not enough for Coop K to pick up the remainder of it. Nice tap from Sergeant, but got the Healing Shade now. It's 2 versus 2, but who is it going to be? Instinct, yes, should get the pickup here, which is going to make things very interesting. 2 versus 1 now. Tough position now for Lark to find himself in, especially with that break. He's not going to have anywhere to go really here.
Chooses to go to the right side. Instinct just trying to pinch a few shots off while still getting some heals from his turret as well. Lark's going to have a real tough time. I don't think he's got any support from beyond either, but I would imagine he's not close to his super, as he definitely would be going a bit more aggressive and peaking a bit more than that. Instinct managed to grab his super, and this is the round to decide who well, not to decide who, but if Serenity stay in it or free-win agents are going to take the second set. Good pull coming in, and Response falls instantly. The perfect start they needed, and Instinct's going to be able to avoid those mines, but 3v2, it's not looking good for free-win agents here.
Yeah, much better there from Lark. He knew he had to go in aggressive, just secure it, get someone taken out the equation, and Response was the perfect person to take down with it. Now the question is, can Sergeant get a lucky pop? Can he try to connect? Just so with Lark there. Going to get a follow-up as well. They need to use the Piper here to eradicate someone, because Serenity are just going to keep back. They've got no reason to go on the aggressive here, and I don't realistically see what Instinct can do. They're going to swap lanes now and try and get a better angle on things, and that could be an idea. It's going to be a tough one. It's not completely out of the question here for free-win agents, but definitely Serenity have placed them in a tough spot.
Wall comes down, which is only helping Sergeant, really. A few shots coming in, does get the connections, but is falling low. The turret comes in, but Tara pull available, he does use it. Scrap Sucker was there, though. Instinct might be able to survive this one, and actually might be able to win it. Shots come from Sergeant, and Lark is the only one alive. Can he clutch this one up? He doesn't. Sergeant gets the shot, and free-win agents take the set.
Oh, Sergeant. I mean, you know, it kind of had his opportunity at the end of a free piece stolen away by Instinct, I think, but oh my word, I knew it was possible, but they had to really think that one through and be careful in their approach. And yeah, it's a tough one. It's a real tough one from Serenity here. I just feel like they came in and I was rooting for them. I really was, despite my prediction not being in their favor. I felt like it was going to be a 3-2. I said that, and I don't know whether it's going to be a possibility here. I mean, it's going to have to be 2 consecutive sets to even get close to that, and it's a tough one. I think Lark's faces a lot there, and it's going to be a struggle. They need to really have a heavy counter comp here going into Crystal Arcade to have a chance to stay in this competition right now.
Yeah, very, very tough. And following on from that as well, Shooting Star, which we know FWA have proved how good they are on that map as well. So you got to be a little bit worried for them. Crystal Arcade up next, and we've seen some certain teams of FA Open Moon actually struggle on this one, and that was actually against Serenity as well. So, I mean, they've proven themselves on this map, so it's really all up for contention here. It might be 2-0 up to Free-Win Agents, but Serenity they've showed us today that they're able to fight back from tough situations, and this is the real tough situation they need to fight back from if they want any chance of winning this monthly final. But near enough every shred of hope they've had might have already been taken away from them.
It's a tough one. It is, because, like, are they capable of a turnaround? Absolutely, but they're in a position now that they're a bit stuck in a rut, and it's a hard thing, near enough an impossible thing in the grand final to shake off some of that dust. It's a lot of pressure in a position where you have never really necessarily been under before, against a team that kind of, it's their bread and butter. It's their monthly thing to do. They are in the grand final every time, more or less. It's fair to say. I think, you know, Free-Win Agents are a team that is world class. You know, they are consistently in this position. You know, I think you know, Serenity have got our hearts. They have, and I would love to see a reverse sweep more than anything. Trust me. But it's going to take a lot. They're going to have to really just dig the deepest they've ever dug to bring this one out the bag now. Crystal Arcade may very well be the last that we see today.
Yeah, I'm just not sure how likely it is that they'll be able to dig that deep and bring it back 3 sets in a row. It just, as much as I've loved seeing them play today, it just doesn't seem likely. I'd imagine, you know, they're really drained at this point, taking 2 losses in that one, especially a heavy loss in that one there, which they could have definitely won. So that kind of gives them a glimmer of hope, but at the same time, they're like, oh, no matter how close we get, we can't win. So, I mean, they really, really, really need to get this first game, otherwise I think this could be a 2-0 sweep in Crystal Arcade, and even at that, they need a perfect draft as well.
Yeah. A lot stacked against them, and you know that if Free-Win Agents pick up the first win, the pins, the spins, the sprays, it's all coming out to play. I mean, and that's not what you want to see when you're up against a match point potentially. But you are right, a lot of things have to go the way of Serenity, and the odds are kind of stacked heavily against them in that respect. Let's see how the draft goes. Brawler bans coming in shortly here. Will it be another 6-way brawler ban, as we've seen time and time again today? Does seem to be the flavor of SESA, just really starting things off with this new format change in a big way, but also demonstrating to other regions that it can absolutely still work competitively, and not going to happen. Double Sandy ban there means it's going to be 5 bans. Sandy, Ruffs, and Viro for Free-Win Agents, and Sandy even sweep. Serenity, Surge coming out first. Free-Win Agents.
Well, Serenity sticking to what they know. I believe they had the Lola last time, and adding a Tara to it as well, which Sin Lark played today. I'm not sure how successfully I can say he played it, but we've seen him play it. Ems and Max going to be the ones joining the Surge on the side of Free-Win Agents, and this is... I really like this comp. The speed with the M's goes a long way, and then Surge can just do everything on his own at this point. Spike going to be there as well, but I think the Surge one-shots the life plan at this point, which is a really difficult matchup to take.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. I don't know whether this is the comp. There's a lot of speed here with Speed Gear, Max, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, the response from the gadget early on to get those additional stacks to give himself the head start that he needs to really start to cycle in, and then popping a second, like, again, such an aggressive start, as we tend to see more often than not from Free-Win Agents. And Serenity's just all over the place on the left side lane. They're just wherever they can go, and Free-Win Agents have got full reign of this map. 6 gems in the pocket. I mean, they're not slowing down, let's be honest.
Yeah, more shots coming through. Ego thrown out, Gadget as well, but it's not in the best position whatsoever, really. It's too far away from him to really get any value of those shots doubling up. 7 gems in hand now. Surge gonna just jump forwards onto him, and that is the power that Brawler brings right now. 8 gems on the side of Free-Win Agents. Instinct does have 1, so he's got to be a little bit careful as well. Once this countdown starts, he might want to back up, or they might just save for another. 9 gems, though, but he is 700 HP. And no signs of Serenity Esports stopping this countdown anywhere near to be seen.
It's just potentially 1 hill too high to climb for Serenity. It's a match point for Free Win Agents. All is not lost. All is not lost, but I mean, we need to see something. It's not too late. It's not impossible, but based upon what we've seen so far, it's going to take so much now. A full reverse sweep is needed for Serenity go home, but they've made a grand final. That in itself is a huge achievement for them. They'll be happy nonetheless. But Free Win Agents want to win this one in style, and they're looking like they're going to do it so far for me. Unless things start to take a tremendous downfall, I just don't see how they falter now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be a seriously terrible turnaround for Free Win Agents if they do manage to lose this one here. Full control. They've got the surge there as well. Obviously can't TP away from Atara super now, so he does have to be a little bit more careful of that, but Sergeant is going to pop speed. Instinct has his super as well. Spike super missed, completely wasted. Curveball as well, so no fertilize to be seen on that one either. Response going to pop that, but Tara super there. Sergeant is going to avoid it yet again though, and that seems like a common trend of what's been happening today.
Yeah, it's just dominant. At this point, it really is. Response, popping the gadget, all stacks going to be at his full disposal. Gets rid of the ego very, very quickly. Coop the K gonna not have that utilized, and a jump on the aggressive there, connecting nicely, and another jump going in aggressively. Cycling beautifully, and it's 10 jabs. I'm gonna call it now. It really is gonna be done. Samaj, give him an applause, and I think rightly so, because Free Win Agents just don't miss a trick. The third month in a row they have done it. This monthly final is theirs. They've got the MSI locked in today. They've got their third consecutive monthly final locked in today. Congratulations to Free Win Agents.
Massive plays from them all throughout today. Looked a bit shaky at the start, looked maybe too overconfident, but towards the end, bringing it home. 3-0 sweep against Serenity, who played so well today as well, upsetting FA Upper Moon, which I'm sure Free Win Agents will be thanking them for, not having to play them in the final or even put them even further behind on points. And that's 3 consecutive monthly finals they've managed to absolutely dominate now.
And the worrying thing is that as far as the scoreline's concerned for them, it's been getting more convincing month by month. It was a 3-2 in March. I think it was the 3-1 last month, and now it's a 3-0. I mean, what that bears for the region, it's worrying to say the least, I'm sure, to many. Is again, like, so many question marks now have been raised, and it really is all eyes now on Free Win Agents, especially now that you consider that FA Upper Moon went out this month in the quarterfinals. It just seems to be getting better and better and better for them. Serenity, though, I mean, we got to talk about them. We got to hand it to them. I mean, you know, they were clearly outmatched in the grand final, a place which they would and have never found themselves in before. But there's been growth in their journey, and I think you got to give them a well-earned pat on the back, because you know, it's rare to see a team that go so quickly into a grand final after a 2022 debut.
Yeah, I mean, they just played absolutely incredible, to be honest. That you just really cannot fault them for any of the plays they've made. You expect them to lose first round, and they make it to the finals and they put up a fight, and that's what really matters. These storylines that come in and out throughout the year, Serenity, a team that majority of people in the world wouldn't really have heard of before 2022, starting to perform, and this is where they really start their careers, and it can only really be up from here. Because they just need to keep on working on those points throughout the year, and even if it's not this year, who's to stop them from saying it's next?
Yeah, they've given us a great deal of joy as well. You know, some funny moments today with Lark, and clearly, you know, a very proud team of their nationality as well. And I think that's a great thing. You know, we don't see, in my opinion, nearly enough, you know, players in Australia in that area just really embracing competitive and giving it all their all. And they've done that. They've absolutely done that. And despite the scoreline in the grand final today not going their way, they gave it their all, and that's really all you can ever ask for. Free Win Agents are just you know, a team that have been here time and time again, and that's somewhere that I'm sure one day will be the same said for them. But Free Win Agents right now, yeah, they are really the headline story in this region. They seem to be every single year. So far, little seems to be standing in their way right now.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems so dominant. That's 3 in a row now, and you just cannot stop them. As you said, it's becoming more and more convincing. This month, you could argue it wasn't against FA Upper Moon, so that's why it was a little bit more convincing. But it was a 2-0 sweep against FA Upper Moon as well. You cannot say that, you know, it was just against a less strong team, because they did just absolutely sweep the opponents who they've had throughout the rest of the year. And I mean, double points in the second half as well. It can really, really shake up a lot. And you know, 3-win agents might have made the MSI in the most convincing way out of any region. But at the same time, you've got double points in the second half of the year, so who's to stop other teams from coming back and making these storylines what they should be?
Wow. I can hear an interview being lined up as we speak. I can hear the interview being lined up as we speak, actually, as well. But let's take a look back at the bracket for today. If you are just joining the stream, unfortunately for you, there's no more matches for you to see. But we can at least talk through the day as to how things went down. And it was a very eventful day, got to be said, all around, realistically. I mean, big upsets, though, got to be mentioned. FA Upper Moon going out in their quarterfinals. That was a big one for me. And you know, for a team that have always only ever made a grand final to be removed from the competition in the quarterfinals, a lot for them to consider. It was Serenity that knocked them out. That was the team that went forwards to place against 3-win agents in the grand finals. So, and again, that similar story, 3-win agents getting the win. Viro Esports, though, had a great month, got to say, making the semifinals for the first time as well. Great achievement for them. You got to really commend them for that. And we had a lot of debuts as well from a lot of teams in this region for 2022, which was not expecting necessarily to say going into the stream, but great to see still teams giving it their alls month by month going into competition. You know, but definitely some names that we didn't see this time around as well. Trav, FAS Shira, and others, Gross Madopin, we saw back in March that haven't kind of recurred yet at all. Are there any other teams that kind of for you like stand out, or is it just pretty much 3-win agents right now that are just like unstoppable?
I mean, I don't think they're unstoppable. There's always going to be a team who's going to be able to rival them, whether that be Serenity, whether it be the common FA Upper Moon. They're yet to be beaten, but they are a beatable team. We've seen the first month it was 3-2 against FA Upper Moon and then 3-1. So they've shown that they can win games against them, but clearly just can't close out these sets. I mean, you need to close out sets to be able to win games. If that's something they can work on, they might be able to take better advantage of the six-band draft later down the line. More teams might be able to, you know, abuse the fact that they do have these bans against a team like that, and just kind of leave things open, which might give them the advantage against that team, and just take advantage of that to be able to win.
Well, Salem here, we couldn't quite get the interview lined up. I think there was some mic issues on the side of Instinct. I think Coop Days was supposed to interview, but he sort of pied it off to him instead, which is very rare because Coop's got a lot to say for himself. Regardless, but it'd been nice to hear from the team themselves, but we wish them all the best. We congratulate them, of course, on their MSI qualification spots this month, which they were able to earn in the quarterfinals. And again, I mean, you know, it's the third monthly final in a row for them. So we wish them all the best. But next time round, I'm sure we'll get to hear from the guys themselves. Let's look back at the bracket for today. I'll talk you guys through exactly how everything went down. Hopefully, you guys got some good results for your predictions. It was 3-win agents that got the first win of the day in what was a 2-0 all-round quarterfinals, may I add, against Southern Cross. It was a bit of a sloppy game, I would say, considering that 3-win agents should have been a bit more convincing in their approach, but that was the game that made them qualify for the Mid-Season Invitational. They continued the performance through Viro Esports in the semi-finals as well to make the grand finals. But Viro Esports can be proud of their performance, absolutely so. It was the first time making a semi-final appearance this time around in 2022 after their win against Business Proposal in that quarterfinal stage. Tulsa Gang left with salt in their mouths against Cases Lifelines, who went on to the semi-finals to face up against Serenity Esports. But Serenity had, honestly, a phenomenal performance. They made the semi-finals last month, and this month they made the grand finals. But it wasn't to be for them this time around. 3-win agents, by far the more superior team, with the more experience behind themselves in those positions. But nonetheless, keep an eye on Serenity because they are one to watch for this region. Gradual growth, consistent though growth, and that's very, very important to say.
Definitely so. A team like that who's been able to, you know, improve like that will continue to do so, I think. And you know, if these teams do stay together, roster changes are common throughout the year, and especially going into the second half when those rosters do open up. There's going to be some changes that might go on, possibly even with the leading teams, and that can really shake some stuff up as well. So it's all to play for in the second half of the year, and I'm just really looking forward to what SESA are managing to do at the MSI. First of all, see how they perform against the rest of the world, and also from there onwards, what SESA have got to offer for the rest of the year. As I feel like they do, so some of the teams definitely have some work to do to be able to rival FWA.
You got some work to do as well, Trav. Your predictions. Talk about that. Like, I got one wrong. I got one wrong. You got 2 wrong, I think. Yeah, could be better. Just putting that out there. Like, I mean, the viewers are depending on us, you know, to get through their tiers and event.brawlstars.com.
I understand that. I'm sorry. If you voted with me, I'm sorry. All right. I'll take the blame.
I'll have a word, guys. I'll talk to him after the stream. We'll sort it out. We'll sort it out for you guys. Don't worry about it. But yeah, hopefully you guys at home are well on the way to earning yourselves that Thorn pin. I think I had great results on the stream, but I think I've locked in my predictions at the beginning. So maybe I've got some work to do. But if you haven't already got Thorn, then maybe you're behind. You can still earn previous pins from previous months. So Box of Roses there, as well as Shredder. You can still earn those if you're a little bit behind. And of course, we've got more streams to come. We've got LATAM South coming later on today at 12 p.m. BRT. I believe that is the time zone for LATAM South. So you can still catch that later on today as well. But exciting stuff, Trav. Did they go the way that you thought it would for SESA and ANZ?
I mean, the winner, it was kind of expected the winner, but the bottom half of the bracket just really didn't go as I expected, to be honest with you. So, I mean, that said, here's the overall points as well. Free win agents definitely still out in front. I'm not sure if this is the same point system as what we had before, and it kind of looks similar to what it was prior. I'm not sure if the points are added on. Serenity still sitting there with 58, but this was prior, I think. Don't quote me on that. And, I mean, free win agents are just going to have extended their lead even further.
Yeah, Free Win Agents really are in a solid spot. 216 points. FF Moon still staying in second, but that lead has definitely been gradually developing, and forming, especially after that loss this month. That's going to be a tough one for FF Moon to really come back from. They're going to have to rethink. They had a possibility of even qualifying for the MSI, the Mid-Season Invitational this month, if Free Win Agents didn't qualify forwards through to the semifinals. So there was still, going into today, very much a neck and neck idea going on, but not the case to be. But still, much more to come from this region. I mean, it's a region that I honestly have loved to watch this year. And great to see as well the 3-ban system, the new format change coming into play. How many times do we have 6 brawlers being banned today? Like, it just kept recurring.
Yeah, it was a common thing, to be honest, which is, you know, the chances of that are probably quite low. But I think that kind of just shows there is a wide range of brawlers, like at least clearly 6 brawlers you can use on each map. So as more brawlers get added to the game, these bans will definitely take effect of getting rid of those brawlers, very map specific as well, because it wasn't just solid 6 bans that are just strong everywhere. It was very map specific in certain places as well.
Who's looking strong globally? That's what I want to know. We need to look at the leading teams as well in just a moment to compare regions. I mean, you know, obviously there's much more to come as far as the BSC is concerned. This is just the SSA and ANZ region today kicking things off. But in EMEA, if these teams don't move around, this is who's qualifying for Worlds this year. Tribe Gaming EU, SK Gaming, Craze Clan, Team Casso, and STMN EU for EMEA are the leading teams. Great performances from them all round. That will be coming next week if you want to keep an eye on that particular region. Tribe Gaming NA, STMN, and Avengers for North America and LATAM North are leading the way. That again is another matchup, another region rather, you can watch next week. Zeta Division 1 and Winter for East Asia are riding high there. Again, that is going to be a next week region. EECA obviously still on hold. AC Milan Clash for LATAM South and Arena Casito. Great fun to watch that region. AC Milan Clash, by the way, have the most points in any region in the competition at the moment. They are the leading team globally, so you're definitely going to want to stick around for that stream coming in just a couple of hours' time, 12 p.m. BRT. Free Win Agents, though, is the team that we have just witnessed winning this month's monthly final in the SESA and ANZ region. So we wish them again another congratulations, but so much more to come. This month is just getting started, quite literally today, with SESA and ANZ. Many more to come. LATAM South again will be just a couple of hours time. So make sure that you guys don't go too far. Get a break. Get a coffee or a tea if you're British, of course. And maybe look at what the matchups are going to be, so you can get your predictions lined up on events.brawlstars.com. Get prepared and kind of do some research. See who's looking good. I think Clash for me, Trav are looking pretty fit.
Yeah, I think the same. I think it's, there's that leading team across all regions who's doing just that level above the rest of them in terms of points, but every region is still to play for. No matter who's qualified for the MSI, Worlds is where everybody wants to be. Obviously, everybody wants to be in the MSI as well, and certain teams have already made their way towards that, but second half of the year, it's going to be even more explosive after that as well. Double points, double the rewards, but also double the amount of teams who might fall down these leaderboards if they don't perform in the second half as well.
Yeah, that's fair to say for sure. I mean, there's still a lot of battles happening across all the regions in regards to the Mid-Season Invitational, so make sure that you catch those streams. Follow at Brawl_Esports on Twitter. It's a great way to keep up with all the streams that we're having for the monthly finals, and turn on notifications as well while you're at it. I've got to give a huge shout out to Supercell for putting this entire year on for everyone. It's been such a great thing to have things like the Mid-Season Invitational be a thing this year, so that wouldn't be possible without them, of course, and without the game that we all love and we all play. To Esports Engine for keeping all the cogs ticking in the background, the production for everything we see on the screen. It looks as pretty as it does because of them, and I know all the staff so well, working tirelessly. Fantastic team. Thank you to everyone there, to the teams, to the players, to the orgs, to the analysts, to the coaches, and to the viewers at home. Thank you very much. For any moderators that are in the chat, I know that Brawl Stars likes to ban me every now and again. Thanks to you as well. To you, Trav, for joining me today. I think I've done all the thank yous on your behalf, but do you have any final thoughts before we close out?
So it's you just thanks absolutely everybody, and then throws it to me, and I have absolutely nobody to thank. Well, thank you everybody that Ark said, especially the people in the background, Esports Engine, Supercell, the viewers, and of course the players for putting on such a good show as well. And you, don't forget about you.
I'll throw it to you next time. I'll let you do it next time. How's that? I'll put that in my notes to remind me. Well, it's been a great day in SESA and ANZ, guys. It's not over yet at all today. Join the stream in a couple of hours' time. 12 p.m. BRT is the time for the LATAM South stream. Come back then with more predictions over at events.brawlstars.com. Until then, it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Trav. It's goodbye from production here. Goodbye for now.